Live betting reaction to all of the night's action. You're tuned in to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Patrick Meagher, Dustin Swedelson, VSiN Live.
All right, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio on absolutely a worthy holiday, Memorial Day, as we celebrate the men and women, the very brave men and women of our military. Shouts to you, much braver than us, but we are grinding on a Monday, a Memorial Day, 2025. The big guy, Dustin Swedelson, in the black shirt when he enters the Wynn Studios. They're Sirius XM at the Wynn Casino and Spa in Las Vegas. He feels as though it makes him slim, and I got to be honest, he does look good. Let's give a shout out to Isaiah Ramirez, who got a lot of love before the program started, working on a Memorial Day. Ryan Smith, steady freaking Eddie, just grinding on YouTube, VSiN.com, VSiN Live on YouTube. There's a lot to do on this Memorial Day as we welcome you in. I'm Patrick Meagher, live from Los Angeles, where I will tell you, we are the only four people working because I look around Hermosa Beach today, and people are coming from far and wide to enjoy the beach. But here we are, and I'm glad we're here because there's a lot to do, whether it comes down to ice tonight with the Panthers going to close out the Hurricanes. We'll get into that, about $1.70 on the Panthers. And I am amused. I will say this. I am amused when you think, quote unquote, Vegas knows and everybody in Vegas are smarter than you. Well, let me run something by you. So on Saturday, Oklahoma City didn't end up in Minnesota. So Minnesota played themselves, and Minnesota ended up beating the shell of the Thunder. Maybe we got ahead of ourselves. Beat the shell of the Oklahoma City Thunder by 33 points. Now, I bring that up because that game on Saturday closed Oklahoma City -3, and the money line was $1.50. Today, after 2 days now, after a 33-point beatdown, the book said, yeah, I don't know. So they ran it back. It's -3, -$1.50. Listen, pay attention. First off, the people in Vegas are idiots. And I know them. They just are. They literally just take your bets. They balance the action. They're hoping to get some vigorish. That's all they're trying to do. They're trying to tax you. All right. So when you look at these numbers and you're like, what are they trying to pull here? They're trying to pull nothing. Oklahoma City is the better team. You would think, obviously, Minnesota at home, desperation game 3. We'll get to the Knicks, but desperation game 3 on Saturday. Absolutely pummel Oklahoma City, where we're going to adjust the price, right? Not so fast, as your boy Corso would say, because we're just going to run it back. And guess what? You should do exactly what you did on Saturday, because I know what you did. You bet on Oklahoma City, didn't you? Don't lie to me. Desperation spot. Oh, the analytics nerds say that we can't analyze motivation. Yes, you can. Yes, we can. So what you're going to do today, as the big guy gets a laugh, what you're going to do today is you're going to absolutely run it back and go Oklahoma City, because the 33-point beatdown they took on Saturday will be replicated, but this time they will beat Minnesota by 33 points. Tonight, you'll have a blowout. You can put on a Cary Grant movie and forget about life on a Memorial Day. Maybe Saving Private Ryan to help you through a military day. As we say hi to the big guy who is feeling himself today. He's not necessarily a Knicks fan, but jumped on the bandwagon as we got into the postseason. Thought the Pacers were the better team, and for most of that game yesterday, the Pacers were the better team. But what the Knicks like to do is say, here, we'll give you 20, and we'll take care of business. And Karl Anthony Towns, this is where we start the program, 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646, as I dance all over the screen here on YouTube. And I forgot Ryan Smith was going to pull it in tight with our new little background. I apologize, Ryan. That doesn't help Spielberg. It doesn't help with me not staying in frame, which I'll try to do. But we do have, as sports fans, and specifically as Knicks fans, that's Chamalay, we do have a cat dichotomy. Karl Anthony Towns, who was just incredible, specifically in the fourth quarter, Dustin. He was just awesome in the game. He was aggressive. He was zestily aggressive. He was hitting step-back threes. He was taking it to the rim. He was throwing elbows. And, again, therein lies the dichotomy that is Karl Anthony Towns, because he is one of the greatest skilled big men we've ever seen, but generally a stat patter. However, without Karl Anthony Towns, the Knicks are down 0-3, Yet now we have a series at 2-1. Happy Memorial Day.
I mean, in the middle of the game yesterday, I was ready to come on here and say, you can't win with Cat. He's an unserious basketball player. He's an unserious person. No team that has him on their roster will ever make a final. And then he exploded. I just didn't see it coming. He outplayed the entire Pacers team. He had 20 points on 9 field goals in the fourth. The Pacers had 20 points on 19 field goal attempts. He had 3 threes in the fourth. Pacers had 1. He had 8 rebounds. Indiana had 1 in the fourth quarter. He dominated the whole thing. He brought them back. He finished with 24 points. He had 4 points going into the final quarter. I never imagined that would happen. I never imagined the Knicks would actually adjust. Tom Thibodeau would do something different during this series when things weren't going right. And I am really hesitant to believe that the Knicks have a chance in this series because, as you said, I believed Indiana was better all along. Indiana should be up 3-0, but maybe we've mischaracterized the Pacers. We thought they were stone cold killers, but they had a chance to go up 3-0 with a chance to sweep the Knicks at home, and they let it fall between their fingertips.
Well, at least the 2 idiots hosting VSiN Live aren't reactionary. We called Oklahoma City an all-time great on Friday. We said the Pacers are amazing and they've got big balls. And now we're questioning what we think about the Thunder, and you are saying, have we overrated the Pacers? That is quite a spin. That is, listen, when they say anybody can do this job, anybody can do this job.
But it makes me feel better that we agree because at least we'll go down together, which, by the way, I agree with you. I didn't know Memorial Day was a holiday where they give gifts, but apparently all the bookmakers around the country are giving us a gift because the Thunder laying 3, we are laying that all day long. Yeah. They're going to blow out Minnesota, who needed that game in that spot in game 3, and they showed up, credit to them, but the Thunder got to rest everyone that matters. Now they're just going to go do their thing and go up 3-1.
Yeah, we'll get to that game in just a bit. I believe it tips. Let's see, is it 5 my time or is it 5:30 my time?
5:40.
Oh, 5:40? Shoot, that game ain't going to start till 9 p.m. my time. It's going to start midnight. It's not even going to be Memorial Day by the time we get underway in Minnesota, which we'll get to in just a bit. We got plenty of time. So, yeah. And one thing that I am concerned about, well, not necessarily concerned about as a Pacers backer, obviously they just completely fell apart in the second half. They couldn't score. I thought their defense was horrific. I did think they looked a little shook. Now, it was very important at the end of the first half where the Knicks cut it from 20 down to 13. You had a little momentum going into halftime. But I have a question for you as a Knicks fan, because after the broadcast, I had the volume up, and the TNT crew, who are great, obviously Kenny, Chuck, Shaq, and Ernie, they were talking about Tibbs. Like, Tibbs was taking hits. Oh. And I think it has to do with his rotations. You saw a lot of Shamet. You saw a lot of, what was the controversy? They won a game 3 that they needed to have, and he was still being crushed because of his rotations.
Oh, no. You can't criticize Tom Thibodeau because the whole thing was that he doesn't make adjustments. He kind of runs with his guys in the game plan, and he sticks by it. He had to go away from it. Brunson forced his hand with the fouls, and I think it's pretty interesting that in a game where Brunson wasn't available, Cat didn't go into the fourth, the lineup that got them back in this game in the third quarter was Mitchell Robinson, Josh Hart, Landry Shamet, Deuce McBride, and DeLon Wright. We had DeLon Wright on a basketball court in the Eastern Conference Finals, but that lineup did their own thing. McBride went on a 7-0 run by himself in the third while they were down 15. That got them back in the game. It made it look more attainable, and I think Tibbs deserves a lot of credit for that. There's been issues with Tibbs in the past, but this was him showing that he's willing to adjust. He's willing to admit what he was doing wasn't working, and now a lot of it was because of Brunson. I guess my question for you, though, when it comes to you being a Pacers backer, though, is they went 5 of 20 from 3, I believe, 5 of 25, something like that. They're at home. They're going to shoot better than that going forward in this series. So you have to feel like you'll be on the right side of the 3-point shot coming up in game 4.
Yeah, I mean, nothing to see here. Look, they lost by 6. They played about as badly as they possibly could. The Knicks gave everything. The Knicks got a heroic effort from Karl Anthony Towns in the fourth. They needed to dig out of a 20-point hole. Let's go ahead and take a look at the adjusted series price to see if there's any value on your Knicks, if you believe that they can claw back into this and actually win this series and end up in the NBA Finals. What is the price right now?
Yeah, I'd also add the most dangerous Karl Anthony Towns is a Karl Anthony Towns that believes he's dangerous in the moment. It can go either way here, people. He could get absolutely obliterated in game 4, or he could take over again. You don't know what version you're going to get. Right now, your series price has the Pacers still laying a hefty minus 230, whereas the Knicks, you can get plus $1.90 back the other way, so almost 2-1 back on the Knicks.
Yeah, there's nothing there. You'd have to go game to game. I don't think plus 190 is enough on a team down 2-1. But listen, again, we have to give them credit. And I'm just taking a look here because I was thinking, who played well for the Pacers? Nobody. Maybe McConnell, but everybody was spotty. Halliburton just didn't seem dialed in. Miles Turner looked erratic. Siakam, okay, there were flashes, but not a ton. Nembhard was terrible. Nesmith was terrible. Shepherd off the bench didn't give him anything. And again, it started with the Knicks playing well out the gate. You saw that desperation. And then it looked like the Pacers started to settle in. Like, all right, we are the better basketball team. Obviously got up 20 in the first half, 13 at the break. And then it was just a run from the Knicks in the second half. I mean, the game was, listen, they outscored the Pacers. I'm adding it up really quickly. 61-42 in the second half? I mean, that is an ass kicking. But again, they needed literally every single bucket and effort from Cat. But if we are going, I'll leave you out. Well, you've been killing them too. If we are going to crush Cat, you have to give them credit because it wasn't just taking step back threes. It was actually being aggressive, actually getting to the rack, a couple of and ones when it mattered, momentum shifts. He was awesome in the game. Credit.
How about this? We take every player in this Eastern Conference Final Series. Every single player plays to their absolute fullest potential. Is Karl Anthony Towns not the number one player talent-wise in this series? Like even over Tyrese Halliburton, who we've seen be awesome and be a killer and a closer. But if Karl Anthony Towns is going to do what he's capable of being on a basketball court, to me, he's an absolute mismatch. He's owned the Pacers all season long. He puts up huge numbers against them. The problem is the living out in three-point land and wanting to be a guard when he's 7 feet tall and no one, specifically Miles Turner, knows what to do with him in the block. If Cat plays like this, the Knicks can go to the final. If he goes back to being the other guy, they're in trouble.
Yeah, I think the points mattered, which he had 24. But we constantly, when talking about Karl Anthony Towns, go to one place, and that is give me 15 boards. And he gave you 15 boards. And you know what else? Josh Hart, there was some controversy, I'm sure you read it, coming into the game where maybe he went to Tibbs and was like, should you bench me? For whom? For what? Charles Oakley all of a sudden's on the squad. Like, you have somebody to start instead of Josh Hart. Josh Hart was grabbing big-ass rebounds late in that game.
But he was on that second unit, which I thought was key and helpful. And starting Mitchell Robinson helped with the defense, helped kind of dictate things early on. Robinson was okay numbers-wise, but he makes an impact with his ability to switch. Look, I just like the attitude from Josh Hart. He's a winning basketball player. He does all the little things. He's a 6'4" shooting guard who can lead any game in rebounding. And that was another adjustment by Tom Thibodeau that he deserves credit for. Instead of just running out the same starting lineup, he did make an adjustment, and it paid dividends because Hart was on the floor when Brunson was unavailable, when Cat was getting a breather, and that second unit made a run with him out there.
Yeah, let's take a look at Game 4 coming up, Dustin, as we are back in Indianapolis tomorrow. Obviously, more going on across sports. We had the Indianapolis 500, I think, yesterday. I'm pretty sure. We got the French Open. Nadal with a nice tribute from Djokovic, Murray, and Federer today in Paris. Tomorrow night, taking a look at the numbers. So let's remember what we closed yesterday. The Pacers closed 2.5 yesterday, and they're sitting 2.5. So this is a facsimile of what we're seeing tonight in Minnesota.
Yeah, and the total in yesterday's game was 224. The total for tomorrow, it opened 221.5, I believe. It's now down to 220.5. So people don't expect a lot of scoring in the series. As much as I want to believe the Knicks are live, as much as I want to believe they made this a series, I think Indiana, you lay the 2.5, they're going to go up 3-1. That's the way it looks to me.
There is a Brunson discussion to be had. We said it early on in the series. I don't even know how much you can blame him. And again, he had an awesome, he went right and with a left-handed, just push when they Pacers down 2. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Final minute and a half there. He just had a huge bucket, so he still is that guy for them. 23 points, wasn't great from the field. The foul trouble. When you notice a player at this stage of his ilk getting into foul trouble, that just means fatigue. And that's where he's at right now. He's reaching, he's leaning. Brunson's just not Brunson right now.
Yeah, and he's not a good defender. So Indiana's attacking him on every switch. They want to go at Brunson over and over again, and it helps them 2 ways. 1, drawing fouls, but 2, getting him off the floor. It just so happened it blew up in their face yesterday. Could that be because Indiana prepared for what they normally do, the Knicks, with Brunson so ball dominant, holding the ball for like 17 seconds of the shot clock, where Indiana, with him not out there, they go, hold on. This isn't the game plan. We don't know how to defend this, because everything we've ever seen the Knicks do is Brunson being so ball dominant. And sometimes their offense gets bogged up because of that. It's hard for other guys to get going because he's just kicking it to them 4 seconds on the shot clock and they have to throw up a prayer. Now, I would also add the foul trouble was kind of a positive for Brunson because he's still their closer. He's still their crunch time guy. He won the clutch player of the year, and he was rested for the fourth quarter. So in the final 2 minutes, he checks back in to put the game out of reach, make sure the Knicks win it, and it all kind of just coming up roses for the Knicks because of all of that.
Yeah, my assumption is Rick Carlisle is going to have a trick bag for the Knicks tomorrow night. And what I mean by that is at this point, I truly believe you beat up on Cat and you have really good wing defenders. Just let somebody island Brunson at this point. See what Brunson can do. If Brunson's going to kill you, let him kill you. I would take Karl Anthony Towns out of the game. And you said it, even when he's bossing, he's still kind of zesty. There's something kind of lurking under the surface at all times with Cat. I would, and I think Carlisle is going to do this, I would absolutely focus on him tomorrow night and say, hey, you want to hit some outside shots, Anunoby? I like McBride. We talked about him a little bit earlier today. He adds a little something. He can actually move a little bit. He can handle the ball a little bit. He can shoot the three. We know this. But I would definitely, and I think Carlisle is going to have a concerted effort to absolutely eliminate Karl Anthony Towns, whether it be in his head or physically, tomorrow night.
Yeah, well, 1, get in the head of a head case. Play the mind game. Do the Draymond Green thing. Do the old school Dennis Rodman thing. Just mess up this flow that Karl Anthony Towns is in, and he's always in the flow state against Indiana. Regular season, he averaged 30 points, 12 rebounds a game against the Pacers. He dominates them. So if you can't stop him physically, stop him mentally. And then on Brunson, if you let Brunson do his thing, and he's controlling so much of the game on the offensive end for the Knicks, and he's just dribbling around, it's so hard for the others to get going. If Jalen Brunson drops 35, sometimes that means the other guys aren't getting enough looks and they can't find a rhythm. So I'm with you. You let Brunson do his thing. What was that Super Bowl where they just let Thurman Thomas run wild and they stopped everyone else? That's the same game plan here with the Knicks. Let Brunson run wild and stop Karl Anthony Towns and everyone else.
Well, the Bills' offense was the K-gun and Karl Anthony Towns, Cat, little K.
I like it.
Hello? I think this. My final note on the Knicks was I thought their defense was freaking spectacular in the fourth. The Pacers, out of sorts, yes, so you have to put some of it on them, but they couldn't get into anything offensively. Nothing. That was effort. You like it from the Knicks, and you hope to see it tomorrow night if you're a Knicks fan. If you're a Pacers fan, you expect a course correction.
Yeah, my biggest takeaway is these NBA playoffs, no lead is safe. It was, again, a 20-point lead blown by a team, this time Indiana on the other side. The Knicks, once again, coming back from down 20 points. We've had 6 teams come back down 20 points or more, win a playoff game this playoff run. In the last 4 postseasons combined, we've had 5. 6 in this postseason, 5 over the last 4. For whatever reason, no lead is safe.
No, the playoffs are wasted. And obviously, as we celebrate men and women of the military today, people are also celebrating with some Trulies and some tequila and some beer. So that vibe is very much on the court. And it's almost like, yes, we still have the same regular season blowouts. See Saturday night in Minnesota, so sometimes there can be just a little left wanting. However, these crazy swings have been surreal. And the Knicks have been a part of so many of them. It's like as soon as you want to write them off, and I did write them off in Game 5 after Game 5 in Boston. I just didn't like the metal. I didn't like the attitude. As much as you want to write them off, they do what you just mentioned. They come back down 20, which is even in a regular season stretch would be a big story, let alone the postseason.
Yeah, and I guess as a sports fan, if I'm just going to take like the big picture out of it, just as a Knicks fan, you just have to appreciate that your team believes that they're going to find a way every single time to win. They don't care if they're down 15, 20, 25. They believe they're going to fight, so you can appreciate that. But the text messages I was sending in the second quarter of that game yesterday, season was over. I already had Michael Malone hired. I had figured out the perfect package to send to Milwaukee for Giannis to come to New York. I was ready to move on from this year, and all of a sudden, Deuce McBride, Landry Shamet, and DeLon Wright sucked me back into thinking the Knicks might have a chance.
Why are Knicks fans? I actually think these are two pretty good teams. They're fine. I think Indiana's fine. I think the Knicks are fine. I think they're two really good coaches. I think Carlisle's better than Tibbs. Why, as a Knicks fan, may I ask you, are you guys so eager to hire Michael Malone, who, as soon as he left Denver, that team got exponentially better?
Oh yeah, I'm not saying we're smart. I'm just saying he's from New York, and ever since the day Tibbs was hired, the thought has been, well, he may not win a title because everywhere he goes, he ends up wearing out his welcome. But he'll get you to that next tier that you need to be in right before you're capable of winning a title. So I think people have just been expecting like that's how things are going to go with Tibbs, and they're going to have to move on at some point. Then you look at Malone, won a title in Denver, New York guy, has a big personality. So Knicks fans are just assuming that's the right hire.
I think what I would do if I were the Knicks, and we'll come back and get to your calls here on a Memorial Day, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Remember, if you're betting the games, whether it be on the ice, on the clay, as it were, in Roland Garros, whether you're betting on the wood tonight, go to vsin.com/subscribe. Promo code Sirius, $19 through August 1st. Tremendous opportunity. If I were the Knicks, and if you were going to move on from Tibbs, there are two names I'd throw at you, and I'd just throw all the money at them and say it's New York City, it's MSG, it's the Mecca. One is here in Los Angeles, Ty Lue, and the other is Mark Dagnall, who coaches the Oklahoma City Thunder. Those two are upgrades over Malone and Tibbs, in my estimation.
Yeah, but there's no way either of those would ever become available. I mean, the Clippers know what they have. Bombers more. Dagnall, I'll tell you this right now. You could go and trade small market Oklahoma City for New York. I wouldn't leave that Thunder roster and the possibilities down the road for them. You can't do that for money, because you could win enough titles to be thought of as one of the greats of all time from a head coaching perspective.
No, I agree. I still think the Knicks brand, I think MSG, I think it matters to some. Malone's a good coach, though. I think Tibbs is a little underrated. I think Tibbs is dealing with the hand he's been dealt. Yeah, he doesn't have a ton of flexibility.
Look, who are the Knicks to be complaining about someone getting them to the Eastern Conference Final and wanting to move on? Like, let's be real about where this organization's been. Last year, they were ahead of time. See, this is the problem with the Knicks right now, is because last year they were ahead of schedule and they went as far as they did and they fizzled out because of the injuries. And then they were super aggressive this offseason, trading for Bridges, all those draft picks, trading for Cat. The expectations then changed. But you got to give Tibbs a chance to keep stacking these seasons and building on the growth, because it's clearly working. They're a step ahead of where they were a year ago, and he has a lot to do with it.
I hear you, Donk. Well, you know what? Give me the price for the Minnesota-Oklahoma City Thunder series, and I'll ask my question before we go to break, and we'll set it up and get to the calls. What's the pricing right now, OKC in Minnesota?
The Thunder are minus 800, whereas Minnesota is plus 550.
So if we were to look at the market, so this is not necessarily fair, but I'll ask you anyway. If we were to look at the market, obviously the Oklahoma City Thunder are likely to advance, and more than likely the Indiana Pacers are going to advance. But I'll ask you, which team down 2-1 do you have most faith in moving forward? All right? It's a little cheap. It's a little cheesy, but I think there's something there, because at least, like we talked about early on the phone today, at least we have series, plural. At least we have a little hope.
Hey, Of all the series currently going on, we can at least point to the hockey one tonight is the worst one between the two sports.
No. That is a lock. And the concept that you could get $1.40 on Saturday with the Florida Panthers was as wasted as the NBA playoffs. But they will be playing Game 4, and Florida will close out I think it's $1.70. Like I said, they will close out the Hurricanes tonight. Team down 2-1, whether it be the Knicks or the Minnesota Timberwolves, you have the most faith in, fill in the blank. 888-623-3646, Dustin Swedelson. I'm Patrick Meagher again. Thank you to Ryan Smith, Isaiah Ramirez, working on a Memorial Day, and we'll get to your calls as we get started here. VSiN Live, it's Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
All right, get that newsletter over at VSiN.com/newsletter. Free, no obligation. Your email inbox tomorrow morning, I assure you of that. There's no offseason in the NFL. We will get to the NFL in a little bit. Aaron Rodgers doing Aaron Rodgers things, holding the Steelers captive. We've got more, but there's no offseason in the NFL. And PFT Live, I got something on Mike Florio and Chris Sims. It's your home for the latest news and insights from around the league. Weekday morning, 7 Eastern on NBC Sports Radio Channel 85 and on the SiriusXM app. Your boy, Mike Florio, and they do a tremendous job, and I encourage you all to check it out on Channel 85. He was taking shots at my guy, Michael Lombardi. Now, listen. I know Michael. You know Michael from his experiences picking against Christopher Russo here on this very channel. I worked with Michael for many, many years. I know him well, good guy. And I think there's a little beef between he and Florio at PFT. And Florio wrote a hit piece on my guy. Michael, I got your back. Now, I've heard rumors that you hear that I'm talking S. I'm not talking S. I got your back. I think this dude wrote a hit piece about you today because he wrote on PFT that Lombardi's been real quiet and not doing McAfee and not doing all these shows ever since Jordan Hudson came to town and the controversy surrounding Bill Belichick at Chapel Hill. What the hell is the guy supposed to do? What is Lombardi supposed to say? He's not going to say anything. That is what he's smart enough to keep his mouth shut and not get involved in his boss's booze business. Are you kidding? It's like if I was going to talk about Dustin and his relation, you got to be very careful, people. When you're friends, you got to be careful. You understand?
Yeah. Yeah, and look, everyone knows you have Lombardi's back. You made the background on the show behind you Carolina Blue in honor of him doing the Lombardi line. I'd also would just like to know, and I love Mike Florio. I have had him on a million shows. He won't come on this one anymore. He won't come on this show.
Why do you love Mike Florio?
Because he says yes, and then people like
I was going to say, he seems like a donk.
He won't come on this show.
In a good way.
He said this show is too late for him, though, so he said he wouldn't come on the show.
I don't care if Mike Florio comes on at the beginning of the show.
Here's my point.
What does he know? Who is he? Now I got to stand up for. Now you just said he's a good guy. Who the hell is Mike Florio?
I didn't say he was a good guy. I said I liked having him on shows because it made me
look
good.
Why? He's a lawyer.
Here's all I want to say. Is there's a reason on May 26th, a website called Pro Football Talk is writing an article about the GM of a college football program. Explain that one. It's to get attention on a day where there's not a lot happening. That's why.
Hold on, you just went from complimenting the guy to killing the guy. Which one is it?
Both. I don't see what one has to do with the other.
You don't?
No.
You like having Florio on, but he's the type of dude that takes unsolicited shots, and you still like that constitution?
Oh, I don't know if it's unsolicited. There's clearly something going on if we read between the lines of the story with background that we don't know. I'm just saying it's May 26th. It's Memorial Day. Not a lot of people are looking at NFL news, and he wrote a salacious piece today to get some attention.
Well, yeah, but what is the – that is the fact that Lombardi's not talking because Belichick is tied up with his boo. That's not a story.
That's the point. It is literally – posted for clicks.
No, but you said there's more to it. You said there's more to it.
Because you said it's unsolicited. I don't know what's going on between them. I don't know about the relationship.
Oh, all right. Getting testy. Getting testy. All I said was, first off, Florio just said this show's on too late. It's on at 7 p.m.
Dude, I don't know.
Last time we had him on the VSiN, he was telling us about writing novels in the middle of the night. Remember?
I think you wrote a sequel to it, actually.
Listen. I just want to be very clear. Big fan of Florio. Like the big guy. Except I just don't understand where we're getting information from. And his information, you could say the same thing about me. What's your background? Whatever. But why did he all of a sudden, aside from creating a website, why has he become in our life the NFL go-to guy that is crapping on Lombardi?
Oh, I got you. Because he was in early on the internet. That's what I would say. Like Al Gore and then Mike Florio capitalizing on the internet early. That's what happened there.
Listen, sometimes you have to stand up for your guys, and at this point, I have to stand up for Lombardi. He didn't do anything. Like, no, but can you imagine?
The story is he did nothing. I don't understand why it's written in the first place.
Right, but can you imagine the eggshells with which everybody in North Carolina is walking on right now? This isn't Lombardi's fault. Like I said, this is a Belichick against men situation. He is making us all look horrific.
No, it's Belichick versus Pablo Torre right now. That story just keeps developing with stuff being released about it. I'm sure you haven't followed it.
No. I'll get to the calls, but what did he say?
So remember, I might get some of the details wrong, but I'll be mostly right here for the most part. I'm not a lawyer with a website, so I'm not great at this. What I'd say is, what I read from Torre is, not Steve, Pablo, no relation, FYI, is remember the footage of Bill Belichick shirtless outside of that house that went viral a couple years ago?
Yeah, with the Ring door cam.
Apparently
he had just got done smashing.
Yeah. Apparently that was done at an Airbnb, and I believe Jordan Hudson was the person who stayed there, and the owners of it eventually leaked it somehow. Some of the dots of the I's and T's being crossed there may be right, may be wrong, but I'm mostly right there.
Wait, so what's the issue with Pablo Torre and Belichick?
That the stuff with him and her goes back a while ago, I think, stating that she's 24 now. That happened like 3 years ago. She was 21 then. They're claiming their relationship started at a different time and place.
Oh, so it was Belichick with another person, you're saying?
No, it was her. It was Jordan Hudson at the Airbnb.
I'm not following the controversy with Torre and Belichick.
Oh, he keeps reporting stuff about their relationship. First, she's the worst person I've ever been around. Someone at North Carolina told him. And there's more developments every couple, 5 to 10 days.
All right. Well, that's not nice. And again, just to wrap this up is nice. Dustin, a big fan of Florio. Patrick, a big fan of Florio.
Well, when he says yes.
When he says yes to coming on the program, apparently he's got his little footies and some milk and some cookies by the time this show starts. I can't believe we even asked him to come on. Like, what's up, bro?
Well,
what's the deal with the off season?
We didn't. Dustin did, and Dustin was told no.
Yeah. Well, I hear you, brother. Mike, you're more than welcome to come on the program. You're part of the SiriusXM family. All right. Let's get to the NBA calls. That was a detour. I just felt like standing up from Lombardi. Somebody texted me that he feels as though I've been crushing him on the show. I didn't crush anybody on the show. I said GMing is like fantasy football. That's not crushing anybody. It's facts.
No, but it'd also be a lot easier to have his back if, you were doing the show in some North Carolina gear with that Jordan logo and a quarter zip. I mean, it's a lot easier to defend someone when they send you stuff.
That's a great point. Michael, get me some gear. That blue would look awesome. And Millie, his wife, who I love, can you tell Michael to send me some gear, or I'll send the postage? Well, we do have a basketball game tonight.
Well, he has to run that by Jordan Hudson. That's the problem.
And 3 is the number with Oklahoma City, and Dustin's Knicks fought back yesterday, so we do have series, plural. Let's get to Jai in Baltimore to start us on Memorial Day. Jai, hi.
What's going on, fellas? Long time no chat. How we doing?
Are you doing okay? I mean, last time we talked to you, you were down and out.
Doing a little better. Out of school for the summer. Work tried to kill me because, you'll never find more self-servient and just greedy, gluttonous, and demanding and self-righteous customers than the ones you'll deal with at my line of work, especially on the weekends and on such holiday Mondays, that is Memorial Day. But, the Orioles stink, as I perfectly predicted when I believe last time I talked to you guys in late March. So I hit that nail on the head. What a joke. What a disgrace they are. I told Dustin when he said he bet them to win the East, I said, Dustin, if they win the East and win the World Series, I will carry you myself up and down Pratt Street at the parade. That's not going to happen because this
hope
team
you've been working on. Hope you've been doing some squats.
Yeah, I hope the back's good.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that because I not today, but I went to the gym over the weekend. So your boy is still, in damn good shape, holding up nice. Mike and the OC still
Dude,
there.
you're like 21 years old. You act like you're an old man. You're in good shape. You're good to go.
22.
22.
Yeah,
My bad. I didn't realize you were collecting Social Security.
You guys are funny. No, but everything's all right. Mike and the OC still, raking my nerves with his nonsense. I guess he thinks that I'm some character from some 1960s musical because he says, because me, when the Orioles are bad, you can't talk to me. So he's like, well, you need to get the Orioles off your mind. You need to go out and go to a malt shop and meet
malt shop.
Yeah.
What decade is this?
What goes through this man? I know it's insane what goes through that psycho's head. You gotta go to a malt shop, walk underneath the stars and sunset like I live out on Rodeo Drive. It's a nightmare with him. Well, as he likes to say, what are you gonna do? Anyway, the reason why I called the New York Knicks. They're a weird basketball team. They're fun to watch. I love watching them. Playoff time, they're appointment television. But they're a weird basketball team. I'm glad Thibodeau got creative and switched up the lineups to Dustin's point. You couldn't go out there game 3 trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Karl Anthony Towns, he's a frustrating player. For the first 3 quarters, arguably, he was the worst player in blue out there on the floor. It's just he's too talented, been in the league too long to just be so undisciplined and aloof with when he gets into foul trouble and everything. And then all of a sudden the fourth quarter comes around, he snaps into it, and he just becomes a superstar. It's like watching Patrick Ewing out there on the floor yesterday. And when he plays more so as a traditional big, where he's moving with the basketball in his hands going downhill, I don't think there's really anybody consistently on the Pacers that can stop him when he's doing that. It's when he gets into his own way, and when the Knicks get into their own way is when they got superior problems. And I think also, to you guys' point, low-key was a blessing in disguise for Brunson to get into foul trouble because, like you guys mentioned, he was rested and raring to go to play the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, which obviously they needed because he is their best player and the clutch player of the year in the NBA. But also with him being on the bench for as long as he was in the fourth, it allowed the New York Knicks to play team basketball. Too many times, like we saw in the first few games of the series, where it's almost as if it's like, all right, well, Brunson, you're the best player on our team, clutch player of the year. Here you go. Go ahead and try to win the basketball game for us. And Carlisle and the Pacers' defensive sets in the fourth quarter of both games was prepared for it to a T, and they didn't allow Brunson to go off in either fourth quarter games 1 and 2 at MSG. They take him off the floor. It allows Josh Hart to shine. It allows Karl Anthony Towns to shine. I mean, everybody outside of really Mikal Bridges that was in a New York Knicks uniform last night in the fourth quarter put on an absolutely masterful performance. If they can replicate that heading into tomorrow night's game, it'll be 2-2 headed back to MSG.
I thank you. John, listen to me. Take a breath. Cheer up. Take a breath. And you know for a fact you like the fact that the Orioles stink. That's your whole thing. Don't get it twisted.
Did Jai just record his podcast while calling us?
Hey, I think I gave him some runway, and he filled.
Got a lot of leash there.
Jai, cheer up. You're good. Let's go to Max here in Maine talking about Knicks and Celtics. Hi, Max.
What's that? Oh, hey there. How you doing?
Good, Max. How are you?
Good. I'm a Knicks fan, and I'm just really surprised at their offense and lack of it. And I reflect on the fact that they were able to beat the Celtics. And Celtics have, 6 guys who could score over 20 points any night there is. And I don't think the Knicks have the firepower to get by the Pacers and definitely not to beat OKC in the finals.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel, Max, as though Dustin, as a Knicks fan, you can answer this better than I. The season was made with or without Tatum that they advanced past Boston. I mean, they were a huge $8 underdog in that series. So yeah, it's a successful season.
100%. That's the team we've been trying to get past for a while now. That's the barometer in the East. They're the defending champs. And when you made the moves, one of OG Anunoby in season a year ago, right? And then you also, in the offseason, acquired Bridges. Those two moves were specifically with stopping the Celtics in mind. Those moves had nothing to do with stopping the Indiana Pacers, and that's the issue we find ourselves in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, no, totally. 888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-3646. We're going to get the hockey underway first, and then, I think it's at 5:40-ish, get underway in Minneapolis. The show is morphed on a Memorial Day into we are Game of Thrones-like defending the fort for Lombardi v. Florio. I mean, this isn't Loveline, people. What's Lombardi supposed to say? Hey, Dr. Drew. I got a situation at work. My boss, he got involved. It's a tough spot. I don't even think Belichick's going to make it through the season, if I'm being honest.
No, I don't think he's making it to Halloween. I look, we could pull up their schedule. I don't think he's making it very deep into the season. I think it's going to be an S show from day one. But also, what's Lombardi supposed to say? He has to run it by Jordan Hudson first. Once she approves it, then he'll say something.
Hey, text your boy Florio and say, what'd you expect him to say? I dare you.
No,
you text him during the break. We'll come back with the answer. Memorial Day. Salute.
No, it's too late. It's too late. He's not awake.
7:47. Bro, pour a cocktail. Get yourself some coffee. A Celsius. Something. We're back. VSiN Live.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Did you end up betting? You took the puck-and-a-half with the Hurricanes tonight, correct?
I laid 1.5 at like plus 154.
Oh, you laid it with the Panthers.
Yeah, I laid it with the Panthers. No, I'm not backing the Hurricanes. I don't know who their goalie is. Rod Brind'Amour is about to get fired after this. The team has no business being in this series. I haven't laid 3 goals at like plus 475 as well.
I just know I wouldn't want to be the front office exec that has to fire Brind'Amour. Have you seen him? First off, he was a badass on the ice, and he still looks like it's like P90Xing before and after the game.
How long has he been there? 2011. He was an assistant coach there and worked his way up. 2011. So 14 years he's been there.
I just got a text from somebody asking me to come on their show, and they said, "Hi, Brandon. Happy Memorial Day. Would you like to come on the show?" I'm not Brandon.
Oh, I want to know who they think you are now.
No, you just botched it. 888-623-3646. You would agree weird to go 3-150 after a 33-point blowout? To me, that is tonight with the Oklahoma City Thunder laying it in Minnesota. That's the book saying, we'll just run it back because we have no clue.
No, yeah, it's the book saying we were right last time. Minnesota just had an absurd game where they were hitting every shot early on. Oklahoma City was in a huge hole, and they just called the dogs off. But the number's right. Oklahoma City's going to win. They're going to cover the number. They're going to move on. They're going to be rested for the final while the Knicks and Pacers beat each other up.
I agree. And another theme running through a Memorial Day here on VSiN Live. 2 Paisanos got Lombardi's back. Florio taking shots at your boy. Don't worry. He's not going to hear us talking about him.
No, it's too late. He's asleep.
My man is deep in REM sleep.
No, it's unnecessary. It's just an unnecessary shot at someone just minding his own business. Lombardi's over there running the North Carolina football program. What's it matter? He hasn't said anything.
I don't know. Let's see what Bill and Chubby Chase has to say about it. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Brandon. Hi, Dustin.
Yeah, that's me. That's me.
Just so you know, it's funny because I called Mad Dog on this very subject months ago, and I don't remember the exact date, but it was right during the start of the NCAA tournament because I predicted an early exit for St. John's. But Florio wrote an earlier article about Lombardi back then. He's got some publication or something, Pro Football Digest or something, and it was basically I forget the specifics, but basically he called him a liar. And, you know, because Mad Dog knows both of them, I brought it to his attention. So if you want to research this deeper, you might take a look at this.
What was Dog's reaction? What was Dog's reaction when you brought it up?
He was not aware of it, and he played it cool and said, "Oh, you know," he basically blamed Eddie for not being on top of it and said, "Oh, look at that," and then you never heard about it again. So my guess is he read it and was uncomfortable with it. And I never did follow up and say, "So, how do you like your 2 friends going at it?" But I never did. Do you think Lombardi? I agree with you. He's not. What's Lombardi going to do or say about Jordan Hudson? I mean, my guess is he calls her ma'am and picks up her dry cleaning and gets her lunch on a regular
Correct.
basis. Right. So turning to the NBA, and you talk about Thibodeau and the possible coach change and the Knicks fans. To me, Thibodeau is in that very dangerous zone as a coach for this reason. It's not his fault. They're not going to win. And I think you characterized it right. He may be the kind of coach that, can get you, can move you up, can get you, into the conference finals or maybe even into the NBA finals where you meet up with a team that has the type of star player that you must have to win an NBA title. But when you do what they did, and you realize, when it comes to the ugly reality, you don't have the player you need to win. You just don't. Well, management can do a couple of things because they took the big shot and the fans are looking and saying, yeah, okay, well, what's the low-hanging fruit to show some movement for the team, whether it's justified or not? It's the coach. It's not all the players after all they've done. So I think Thibodeau is vulnerable for that reason.
Good job, Bill. I'll respond to your Florio. Hey, listen, we're just having fun, people. Florio does a fine job. Michael's a friend. I worked with Michael every day for 3 years. Nice guy, super nice guy. He is outspoken on social, and when you're outspoken on social, people are going to take shots. That's really what it comes down to. We do have a response to Jai, and that is our
What's
buddy
happening?
Mike. Oh,
There's a time limit though, Mike. Unlike Jai.
Of course, it's a time limit. It's 4:56 out here. There's always a. How are you guys? What are you guys working on a holiday for? Tori got you guys working? My
Hey, we're grinding, bro.
You
We're
guys
grinding. Hey, this is respect for the troops.
grinding away. Patrick, 5 days away from the big day, Saturday, 12 o'clock.
Yep, looking forward to it. Looking forward
It's
to
going
it.
to be a great time. You're going. Matter of fact, you got to go because we'll go over to your apartment. Listen, if you're not there, we'll
Well, if
walk to your apartment and say, Patrick, or we'll walk up and down here. No.
Patrick, if you don't go, there's going to be 2 people there.
Wait, hold on. Before
Yeah,
you
me and
respond to John,
Me and
that's not bad.
Twizzy's
Before you
going,
respond,
right?
hold on.
Twizzy, Colin,
Can I just say
Oh
one
my
thing?
God, oh my
Wait, before you respond to Jai, what is the update on the Mad Dog Sports Radio get together at
Going,
Hennessy's
it's
in
happening.
Hermosa
It's
Beach?
popping. We're all excited.
Okay, how
This
many?
Weekend.
How many?
Who's
How
going?
many? I don't have. I'm not. What am I? I'm like a maitre d'. I don't have the exact number. I think it'll be a nice crowd there.
Who do you think's
15,
going?
Maybe.
Who do you
Look at Beetle, Decker, you, me, Twizzy, some other folks probably. What's up?
We didn't even get to a second hand. We were at 5. We didn't even get to a
You gotta
second
change your
hand.
plans. Come on, can't you change your plans? San Diego's there all the time. This is not happening.
I've had this thing booked in San Diego forever. I have to go. Sorry. The zoo awaits.
Oh, brother.
How did you get Cody and Decker? I mean, excuse me. How did you get Michelle and
Cody
Cody
and
to go to your meetup?
They heard. I don't think someone else mentioned it, and they said, "You know what? We're going to be in LA that week. As you know, Cody's in New York. He's out here. Michelle's in San Antonio. I don't know what her schedule is. They're both going to be here. They say they're going. I imagine they're going. They say they are going, and they expect you to be
They
there.
invited themselves?
I just think it's a hard ask. I know where I live. I think it's a hard ask to get people to come to this area of Los Angeles. There's so much traffic. It's such an insulated little part of the county. It's weird.
Yeah, it's so far west, and it's difficult to get to, but it was worth it. I.e. James K. Polk made a lot of sacrifices for it.
He did. It's called Manifest Destiny for Florio and Lombardi. When we return, Zach Harper joins Talking NBA.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
VSiN Live, Dustin just getting back in his chair signing autographs, hanging out at the SiriusXM studio at the Wynn there. John Goulet and the crew helping us out on a Memorial Day. Special shout to Ryan Smith in Las Vegas, running youtube.com/VSiN Live. Thank you, Ryan. Isaiah Ramirez back in New York City. We appreciate you. Hope everybody's having a safe and happy holiday. There are a lot of holidays in the country. I would say this one's certainly worthy as we honor the men and women of our military. I'm Patrick Meagher. As we do welcome you back, we're about to get underway in Sunrise, Florida, Game 4. Dustin laid the puck in a half with the Panthers. It's a formality at this point, the much better team. The Panthers just taking a look quickly at the number. It does look like they're going to close anywhere between $1.70 and $1.80. So you have to lay $1.70, $1.80 to win $1 on the Panthers to close out the Hurricanes tonight. So that's that. And then we're going to transition to the NBA, of course, with our buddy Talk Hoops, Zach Harper. We've got one tonight that actually has some intrigue because of the 33-point blowout by Minnesota on Saturday. The bookmakers said Saturday it's 3, Oklahoma City favored, $1.50 on the money line. So after 33 points of a beatdown, it's Oklahoma City lane 3 and $1.50 on the money line. To discuss that and more, our buddy Zach Harper, alum of Mad Dog Sports Radio, the athletic NBA writer, Sirius XM NBA radio host at Talk Hoops. Zach, hi, and happy Memorial Day. As I say to you the number, does that like 3 and then 33-point blowout, yet still 3? What does that say to you?
You shortchanged it with a 43-point blowout. Well, by 40.
Yeah. It's never been a strong suit.
Yeah. 42, actually. 42-point blowout. My math apparently was bad, too, there. It's, no one – it's funny. After Game 2, did a bunch of conversations and pods and, things, and they're like, all right, so this is a sweep. I'm like, no, it's not a sweep. They'll go home. They'll get a game or two. And no one believed it because of the way things happened, but – Game 1, I think Minnesota should have won. I know you look at the final score and you're like, oh, it's a blowout. It wasn't, though. Like, Minnesota should have been up 15, 18 points at halftime. They missed a lot of open threes, wide open threes. This is a team that hit 40% of their wide open threes in the regular season, and they were 8 of 30 in Game 1. And a lot of those came in the first half. And it was a 10-point game with 5 minutes to go. They let go of the rope. OKC did what they do, right? But I thought Minnesota played a great game for the majority of that contest. But OKC can do this too. Game 2, they were terrible. Game 2, they absolutely should have lost. But I didn't leave those two games in OKC thinking that Minnesota was completely overmatched and overwhelmed. I think it's a good matchup, but they do have to knock down open threes. Well, Game 3, they knocked down open threes. They knocked down shots. They got on top of OKC early. And I think at home, we see role players do this and we see things go better. I don't know that they can do that in OKC. I expect them to knock down those shots in Minneapolis. And so I think they have a great chance of winning again tonight. And I know no one's going to give them a chance to win any of these games moving forward, but I think that's not really paying attention to what's happening.
And how about Finch? It seems like Chris Finch made adjustments, right? The role players did perform better, but willing to throw the rookie, Terrence Shannon Jr. in there. Mm-hmm. He goes for 15, had 9 in the second quarter, willing to adjust. Naz Reid gave you what you're normally looking for from Naz Reid off the bench. A little bit of life, a little bit of energy, kind of fits what Oklahoma City style wants to do more, which is run up and down the floor. How do you expect Oklahoma City now to counter, having seen Finch's counter there?
Man, I mean, I don't know that they have to do a whole lot. I would expect them to maybe put Chet Holmgren in a lot more action early on, Jalen Williams in a lot more action early on. I do think Shea will be forceful because of the frustration he caused in Game 2. Like, this Minnesota team is very frustrated with the whistle, right? And obviously, when you have a blowout like Game 3, that's not going to come up as much because you're getting to dance there on the sideline. But to the point where Jaden McDaniels just outright shoves Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's like, all right, you've been calling these ticky-tack things. They feel like even when Shai just falls down on his own, they're getting fouls called. You're like, all right, I'll give you a foul to call. And I don't even think it was at Shea so much as it was at the refs. They don't feel like the same physicality is allowed on their defense as is OKC's. I think OKC's counter to that is being physical. Like, I think they're going to be even more physical tonight in game 4. And a lot of that goes with how they attack offensively, how they try to draw fouls. And, Minnesota can complain about the officiating all they want. Ultimately, like, you just have to adjust. Once it's established how that game is going to be called, whether it's fair or not, you have to adjust and play better. They've got to stop whining. And so I think OKC is going to establish, kind of the role players, the star role players, Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren a lot earlier. Let Shea kind of cook a little bit. And then I would expect to see Caruso a lot earlier in this game. A lot earlier, because he is just someone who disrupts everything an opponent tries to do.
By the way, can confirm 42-point blowout.
You did it. You got a calculator out there.
I went to the iPhone calculator. And could you be more of an idiot than I am? I thought Ant was great on Saturday. Let me ask you, and for those that don't know, I believe Zach started your career covering the T-Wolves, and obviously gone on and done a lot. But so you have your pulse on that, not necessarily this iteration, but you follow them closely. Let me ask you about Oklahoma City. Were you surprised just out the gate, the listlessness?
Yes, absolutely, because you just don't see that from this team. This is a team that always has a run in them. They can erase a 28, 30-point lead pretty quickly, and they don't even do it with, I've been saying this past week. Everyone always talks about, oh, this team got hot from 3. This team got hot from it. Like, they get hot defensively. Like, they really do. Like, they go on defensive runs, whereas most teams go on offensive runs. And so for them to come out, so like you said, you put it perfectly, like, listlessly, and to not have it, and then to not have that push in the second or third quarter. I mean, this is the best third quarter team in the league. They outscored opponents by 14 points per 100 possessions. They outscored Minnesota by 14 points in the third quarter in game 1, 14 points in the third quarter in game 2. Like, they dominate third quarters. You expect them to come out even down a ton of points at halftime, to come out there and, like, make you a little bit nervous coming out of the gates in the third quarter. Just wasn't there. And I don't know what that is. Minnesota can play a great game, but that Thunder team doesn't really have games like that. That's what they do to opponents. And so we've seen them do that to Denver a couple of times. We've seen them do that to Memphis in these playoffs. I was shocked. Like, I expected Minnesota to win game 3. I expected them to play a lot better. I didn't expect them to win by even double digits, let alone 42 points.
Yep. Yeah. So Zach, last week I did something I don't like to do. I admitted I was wrong. I'm wrong a lot. I just don't admit it. I decided to do it about Oklahoma City. I'm dead wrong. I doubted them. I believed in them every step of the way. And then they go and put out the stinker that they did over the weekend and let me down. But I do remember a few months ago, you were with me with the Thunder. Just questions, right? Yeah. Questions about the lack of a vet, question about how they handle crunch, close game situations late in the playoffs. Have you come around like me where this is a historic team that is in a position to win multiple titles now?
I don't know about multiple titles, because I don't know. We've done this a few times recently. We're like, all right, this team, here we go. I don't know that the NBA is currently set up that way, especially with the incoming, or with the current, second apron and the incoming extensions that they're going to have with Jalen Williams and everything. Like, it's unfortunately the NBA, kind of screwed themselves and were short-sighted in how they've structured this collective bargaining agreement. So, yeah, they'll be, I think they'll have a good chance at multiple titles, but they should be the favorite right now, right? They should beat Minnesota in this series. They should beat either New York or Indiana in the next round, depending on who moves on there. So yeah, like they should win a title this year. Moving forward, I don't know. I don't know what that's going to look like for them. I don't know if you can keep that same momentum as a champion in today's NBA. And I think it's a mistake. Like, I think I've told you guys before, I think parity's for losers. I think parity sucks. I think parity's for dorks. Like, I think it's so stupid. Like, it works in other sports. It doesn't work in the NBA. It's stupid in the NBA. Like, the NBA is built on dynasties. The NBA is built on building up a dynasty and then tearing down a dynasty. We have seen it in every decade of this league. That is what the league is best at. We always have all these all these old heads like, oh my God, back in the 80s, it was the best. And back in the 90s, it was the best. Yeah, the Lakers, you had the Celtics, you had the Bulls. Like, yes, you had other teams win here and there, but those were the three dynasties. And if those were the glory days, why do we want a new champion every single year in this one and then say, like, this is what it's supposed to be? Like, I just think it's very short-sighted, and I don't think it's what makes the NBA best.
You mentioned the defense. We'll get to the Knicks Pacers. Zach Harper joining us. You mentioned the Thunder defense. They were embarrassed, obviously, Saturday. So I'll force you to make a pick tonight. Do you expect them to bounce back, or is Minnesota going to even this up?
I expect them to bounce back in terms of play. I would pick Minnesota to even this up. I think this is a more competitive series than people give it credit for. I still think, OKC's going to win the series. I'm not going to go that far, but yeah, like it probably ends OKC in 6, and maybe even OKC embarrasses them in game 5, and then game 6 is not the best showing for Minnesota at home. But I think Minnesota's really good. Like all of a sudden after game 2 it was like, maybe they're the Portland Trailblazers, the Damian Lillard Portland Trailblazers. Like, no, this team's good. Like, not that team wasn't good, but like this team is legit. They have a really good defense. They have a great star who's 23 years old. Like, the idea that you're going to say this is what they are moving forward forever, like he hasn't even begun to like scratch what he's going to be. And they've got they've got some flexibility. They've got good young role players that they can develop. Like this is a really good team, and I expect them to fight back, at least at home.
Yeah, I mean, Zach, like they were good during the regular season. The thing that jumps out is that Oklahoma City just hits this gear in the third quarter. As you mentioned, they take off. And as someone who knows Minnesota, knows the Timberwolves, what they've been through recently trying to get over the top, part of that was with Karl Anthony Towns. And as someone who's followed that team closely, obviously you followed Cat. When you see Cat go off last night, like he did in the Eastern Conference Finals, 20 points, scoring the same as the Indiana Pacers did in the fourth quarter. What are your takeaways from a game like that from Big Purr?
I mean, it's funny. Like, I don't know how many people realize this. Like, he torches Indiana. His highest scoring average for his career is against the Pacers, 27.8 points per game, and it's on like 67% true shooting. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, he torches Miles Turner. Whoever they have out there, he sees those yellow and blue jerseys, like he is torching them. And so, when the Pacers had their turnaround, it was kind of starting beginning of January, and they were one of the 4 best teams in the league from then on. The rest of the season, they played in early to mid February. He dropped 40 on them. He torches these guys, and he torched them in game 1. It didn't work out. We torched him in game 1 with 35 points. It doesn't surprise me that he had a big game against them. The way he did it, though, to take over that game, because I think we were all looking at that game last night. They're down 20 in the second quarter. They're down like 55-35 at one point, and Indiana's going on a run, and with like 3 minutes left in the second quarter, and Tibbs is pissed and calling timeouts and everything. And my group chat's going like, all right, I guess this is a sweep. Like, this is over. And he was having a bad game. And then the way he took over, he's dropping dimes. He's lighting them up. Obviously we got to see what happens. There's still a lot of series, and Indiana's really good. That might be a moment where he saves their season, right? Like, we might look back at that fourth quarter and say he saved their season. And it's because Miles Turner can't guard him. Miles Turner's a good defender. He can't guard Cat. Never could.
Yeah, Cat was super zesty yesterday. I love when he just he like flexes, and then whatever the new 3-point thing is, where the players like do the weird contortion with the 3 fingers, and then they kiss them, and it's the worst. Oh my
God!
Okay.
Wait. Let me ask you: what would you rather have? Would you rather have that, or when someone gets dunked on and everyone on the sideline starts patting their head like an idiot?
I don't even know
I
what
hate that
is.
the worst. I hate that so much. I think there's nothing that would make me feel bad about like getting dunked on sucks. If I looked over and someone was doing that, I would feel so much better about myself having gotten dunked on. Like, you look dumb there.
You look stupid.
I admit at 47, I don't know what it means. I think I know when people do the thing in front of their face. It's like, you can't see me.
Sure.
But we can.
That's John Cena.
But I can. Yeah.
We can totally see you. The Pacers in the second half? What the hell?
it's weird because this is a team that, obviously we've seen the comebacks and they've been historic with these comebacks in the postseason. And they broke my favorite stat is just, I love putting it this way, for teams that were down 14 or more points in the last 2 minutes 50 seconds of a playoff game, they broke a 970 game losing streak, right? Like this, it's crazy what they did in that game. But last night, this is a team that is very clutch and they are relentless, and you don't see them, you don't see Halliburton turn the ball over. You don't see them kind of let go of their offensive flow, and they just keep attacking. They attack the paint. It's not just flinging up a bunch of threes. They're a solid defensive team. I would even say a good defensive team now this season. All of their scouting report of last year, I think people assume that going into this postseason, and they're just a much more complete team. To do that at home, to play that way at home, it almost made me wonder, and this will probably sound stupid, but it almost made me wonder, like, do they need that crowd going against them to feel a little bit more adrenaline in that moment, or a little bit more focus? Like, I don't know. Like, I was absolutely baffled at what was going on, and it just seemed like timeouts didn't calm him down. Hallie couldn't calm them down, and he's normally just that kind of steadying force. Like, I don't know. I don't know what happened, but it was bizarre to see that team lose that way. Like, they can lose, obviously, they lose games, but not like that.
No, and
their offensive sets. Sorry, Dustin, to interrupt, but their offensive sets in the third and fourth were like Halliburton. They couldn't get into anything, and you have to give the Knicks credit, but they were so discombobulated, right?
There was no flow. There was no purpose. It almost, that's a team that, they don't run a lot of intricate stuff, but they run stuff with purpose. And they look like a bunch of dudes like at the Y just having met each other.
Yeah, and they've built this reputation specifically on this playoff run of being killers, of closers, of guys that like step up in big spots, Siakam, Halliburton, whoever it may be, and it just wasn't working for anyone. So, I mean, I don't anticipate them shooting that poorly from three in the next one tomorrow. But on the other side of the coin, Zach, it's a tough day for people who like to criticize Tom Thibodeau. I'm one of those people. The lack of adjustments, doing the same thing over and over again. In a game where he puts Mitchell Robinson in the starting lineup for Josh Hart, plays DeLon Wright and Landry Shamet, and they lead a lineup that gets them back in the game. What'd you think of Thibodeau yesterday and what he did?
All right, we got to stop with this thing. Like, I'm so sick of the Thibodeau
Barkley
conversation.
Was killing him after the game. Barkley was at him.
Yeah, it's a funny, like, I think Kenny Smith have the line of Thibodeau wouldn't play 9 guys in a baseball game. Like, that's a bar, man. Like, that's so funny. I don't know if he stole that. I don't know if he stole that from somebody. I'm sure someone said that on the internet before, but like, that's funny, the first time I saw it. That is, oh my God, that's so funny. It makes me so mad I didn't think of that. Like, that's just a hilarious statement.
That's a great line.
We can't keep doing, like, all right, they make the conference finals and everyone's like, I thought Thibodeau runs his guys into the ground. They're too tired to finish games. Well, now they're in the conference finals. It's like, yeah, like, it worked this time. The other 14 years before that, like, we've got a lot of evidence. And then they lose 2 games at home, and it's like, this guy needs to be fired. We got to get rid of him. Like, he's run its course. Like, get rid of him. Bring in Michael Malone, the guy from Astoria and everything. And now he wins last night, and it's like, hey, he made the adjustments. Like, they're going to the final. Like, we can't do this. It can't be that elastic with him. Like, it's driving me crazy. I know it's the internet. I know we go on these rants and we have the like, even a goldfish has more of an attention span than we do on the internet. We can't keep doing it. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. Like, I'm gonna ram my head into a brick wall. Like I'm Dan Orlovsky or Gus Frerotte. It was Gus Frerotte, right? Dan Orlovsky ran out of the end zone. And Gus Frerotte like ran his head. Like, I'm gonna go crazy. Like, we can't do this. Like, yes, he made adjustments. The starting lineup thing, did it work? I don't know. I like Josh Hart, I think, but it was like, yeah, he brought in DeLon Wright, he brought in Landry Shamet. It like, that kind of sparked some things and just like gave some guys a little bit of rest. You're not asking them to play guys 20 minutes off the bench. You're just asking them to like have a little bit of rest for these guys so they can close. It ended up working. We'll see if he does it next game. That's the real adjustment to me, is like, anyone can do something once. Is he going to keep doing it and keep making adjustments, or will he go back to the habits? Like, hey, I can eat a salad. Am I going to order Jack in the Box at 2 a.m.? That's the real issue, right? Like, but yeah, I'll eat a salad at lunch. But what's going to be the two? Like, am I going to go to bed, or am I going to be like, yeah, I'm a little high right now. I think I am going to get some tacos. Like, that's the issue.
I took a half a gummy.
It does, and if you don't fall asleep on that half a gummy, you get hungry.
Brunson, but they were interviewing Brunson on TN. I felt bad for everybody involved. Brunson just does not. Is he dryly funny? I don't really know what's going on there, but he does. And Dustin pointed out that the Knicks have gained some momentum when he's been off the court. Are you seeing anything with Brunson right now?
Yeah, I mean, I just think like they're defending him really well, right? Like they've got some good size and quickness on him. Nesmith is a good defender. He's someone who can stay with him, and we saw some of this in the Detroit series with guys that they were throwing at him. I thought the biggest mistake Detroit made was putting Schroeder on him, in the fourth quarter. And I'm like, what? You have guys who are much taller and quicker and more athletic. Why would you put the shorter guy on him? But I think Brunson is probably feeling a little bit tired, and that's not even a shot at like Tibbs. I just think like he's asked to do a lot, right? He's asked to do a lot at all times. His shot looked a little short to me at times, or he was kind of using his arms too much. Like his form looked a little off to me. I think it helps that Cat can have a big series. I think they need more from OG. I think they don't need to rely on him as much early in games, so he's fresher at the end. I think he's just a little off, but I wouldn't expect that to last too long. Like he is a guy that when he has a bad game, he seems to bounce back with a good game. Whether they win tomorrow night or not, I expect him to show back up and have a good game. But yeah, you're right. Like he does look a little. There's something missing right now from his execution.
Yeah, and Zach, part of my theory of why they were able to mount the comeback yesterday is because Indiana prepared for ball-dominant Brunson to be out there for a long time. They didn't prepare for all these other guys to be swinging the ball around and Deuce McBride running up and down the court. So I think that played a role in the Knicks' comeback. It's not so much a shot at Brunson. It's more like Indiana was caught by surprise. Now, the Pacers dealing with an injury. I'm seeing reports about Aaron Naismith, maybe a game-time decision, probably going to be listed as questionable is what they're saying. If Indiana doesn't have them, they're a pretty deep team, but how much will they miss what he brings? Aside from the going nuts with the 3-point shots, right, in game one, there's more to his game than just that. How big of a loss would that be if he doesn't suit up?
Yeah, and it's not even just about making the shots. It's about being a threat, right, with the shots. Like it's about, like, are you going to leave him in rotation? Are you going to hesitate to leave him in rotation? Defensively, he moves his feet. He has great hands. He's a guy that you even have, like, he doesn't get a lot of rebounds, but he's a guy that you have to like make sure doesn't crash offensive rebounds here and there. Like he's a guy that just is very active, cuts, great. I think they can make up for it with Benedict Mathurin, giving him more minutes, although Carlisle did not seem very happy with him last time. Like, shocker, Rick Carlisle was not happy with a young player. That's the first time that's happened. But like, yeah, they're gonna need a very solid game from him where he's not doing the young stuff. He's playing very solid basketball with his talent, athleticism. More likely, I think they would go to Ben Shepherd, who's just a very good defender. Hope for like some 3-point shooting from elsewhere on the team. But they do have some options. Just I think he's gonna play. Like that. That's based off nothing other than I would guess that if he can give it a try, that he'll at least get out there, get moving a little bit, and try to be a threat for at least part of the game.
You guys are movie guys. I'm not. But let's say Matt Damon and Ben Affleck made a new movie and they had to have a professor from Yale. Ben Shepherd looks like the guy they'd pick to play the professor. Is that terrible?
Ben Shepherd looks like if I tried to draw Jordan Poole. That's what he looks like. I'm not a good artist. Like that's what, like, he's got just the, like, I'm not trying to be mean. Like, look, you can attack whatever you want here, but he has such a distinct mustache. Like I can't stop staring at his mustache when he's on the court. Like it's like a neon sign. Like I don't know what's going on there.
There's a lot going on.
He looks like his entire wardrobe is ordered out of the LL Bean catalog.
Yeah, like Brooks Brothers. I don't know. There's something. It just gives me sophisticated, what's happening vibes. Hey, speaking of which, we should have a moment of appreciation for, I believe it was last Wednesday, Game 1, Pacers at Knicks, because we haven't spoken to you. That's where I know there's a bar you go to in the Valley. I was out at a place, and the whole entire place just shut down and was complete. These weren't even people that were basketball fans. The last couple of minutes into overtime, completely transfixed everybody. What was your takeaway after the Pacers comeback? That was great theater.
All right. I'll tell you what happened. Like, so I missed it in real time. All right. I misjudged the ending of that game and the timing. I thought it'd be over like, all right, like a certain amount of time. And so I planned dinner with somebody. So like I'm waiting for her to get to the sushi restaurant. I'm just watching on my phone and I'm like, oh my God, I need this game to end. It's 34 seconds left. It's a 5-point game in regulation. And and they go to a replay review over that OG foul. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. She starts walking on. I'm like, all right, I got to put my phone away, put my phone in my pocket. Like 3 hours later, I check my phone, 138, 135. I'm like, what happened? I look at my text. I've got like 150 text messages. My phone, I'm like, someone either died or this was the greatest thing that's ever happened. I go back and watch everything, and I couldn't believe like what I missed. I couldn't believe it. Like it was just, I mean, that's the onions on Tyrese Halliburton to not like, and look, everyone's like, oh, well, that's Mitchell Robinson. He wasn't going to attack that. He ended the Bucks season by going at Giannis for a layup. He's not afraid of trying to get a layup on Mitchell Robinson. He was going for the win just to go for the win at Madison Square Garden. Like that's the type of killer he is. And I mean, that's just, Aaron Nesmith going nuts, the way that they then execute in overtime and like, yeah, the goaltending call and missed goaltending call and everything. But like that Pacers team, man, you cannot count them out.
Was dinner successful?
It was great.
Listen, sometimes you got to prioritize life, Zach. I appreciate that.
Did that shot from Halliburton, did that begin the conversations of getting his dad back in the building? Because I don't know if you guys saw the report, but John Halliburton going to be in Indiana for game 4. Now, he's not allowed courtside anymore. He's got to sit in one of the luxury boxes. But how do you feel about Papa Halliburton being freed?
Years ago, this is during the Warriors' first championship run with Steph in that group. I remember I was on some radio hit in Ohio, and the host was complaining about Riley Curry being at the post-game press conferences, right? And being a cute little kid at the post-game press conference with her dad and everything. He's like, oh, I think this is bad. My question was I just asked back. I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Why do we care? What are we doing with John Halliburton? He can either be at the game or he can't. I'm trying to figure out if the Knicks are going to have 9 guys in the rotation and if there's going to be some kind of junk zone defense that Indiana's going to employ or what's going to I cannot care if John Halliburton is courtside or even in the building. I don't understand why this is news. Because he yelled at Giannis?
Did you just call Dustin a random host in Ohio? Because he asked the question.
No, I actually listen to Dustin.
Honestly, it's one of the more respectful things I've been called on this show, so I'll take it.
Random host. Hey, that's what you get for saying yes to whatever show that was in Ohio.
You know me, I'll say yes to anything, apparently.
Hey, listen. Pay the bills. Hey, Boogie's got to eat, and so does Shorty at the sushi restaurant. So you said you do believe Minnesota ties it up tonight.
Yeah.
Do you believe the same about the Knicks tomorrow?
Man, that's a good question. I don't know that they play. Man, yeah, you know what? I do. I think because I think they're better than what they played in this series. I do think Indiana's great. Like I think Indiana is way better than people give them credit for. I think anyone trying to discount what they've done in this playoff run by saying this is injuries, I don't think they're paying attention to this team. I think this team is legitimately good enough to win the East, and then. Yeah, it would take some things breaking right their way, and I don't even think that's just injuries, but I think they're good enough to win a title. I do think the Pacers are that good, but I think this New York team could and should play a lot better. Still think Indiana can win the series even if they lose these two at home, but yeah, I think the Knicks will tie it up and we'll get a great 7-game series one way or another.
And if they don't, Michael Malone will be the coach next year. And outside of being from Queens, what reasons would be for the Knicks to hire him? I know you don't want it to happen, but what would be the reasons to hire him?
Oh, I don't care if it happens. I just can't have the Tibbs conversation. But the other reason is he's rep by CAA. So you get hired by the Knicks, you're rep by CAA. It all lines up. And if they lose They lose game 4 in India. He might be the coach for game 5 for all we know. I don't know what's going to happen.
Not to frustrate you, but there's a rumor Riley Curry's going to be coaching the Knicks next year. So,
well, as long as John Halliburton can go to the games courtside, like we got to end these national crises. Like this is the important stuff.
All right. Well, we're going to have 2 series tied at 2s. You heard it from Zach Harper. Of course, if you're an NBA fan or a basketball fan, please subscribe to the Athletics NBA Daily newsletter. It's free. It's called The Bounce. Just go sign up. The Athletic NBA writer, of course, SiriusXM NBA radio host at Talk Hoops on Twitter. How's Boogie doing? Before we say
he's
goodbye.
Great, man. He had a great weekend. He's been gotten a lot of attention. He's fantastic.
Boogie's 7-ish now.
No, he's 9. He's old. He's an old cranky guy, but he still acts like he's 2. So
Boogie still got that juice.
Oh yeah, he's still got that hop to him.
Enjoy the basketball. I think we're going to start in somewhere around 10 minutes. Is that what you're hearing as well? Are we going to get underway at the right time tonight?
It's an ESPN game. We'll probably start in about an hour.
There you have it. Zach Harper. Thank you, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Anytime, guys. Thank you.
Okay. See you later. There you go. We think we're going to start, Dustin, at 40-ish.
Yeah, I'd say 42. 42 would be my guess. And I would also lay the 3 when it comes to Oklahoma City. And then finally, we should do a D-list celebrity boxing match. John Halliburton versus T. Morant, John Morant's dad. I feel like we should sanction that fight.
Zach, not a fan of your Halliburton's dad question. Are you concerned about Halliburton's dad?
I'm concerned that I asked the question, if I'm being honest about it. So
I was wondering where you're going.
All criticisms are fair.
I saw you working, and I think we're ending with John Halliburton with this one.
It was one of those
I launch into questions. I don't know where I'm going either.
Look, the problem was Zach's answer previously had answered whatever I was going to ask. He kind of added that on, and I was just kind of left. I was like, I saw some news about John Halliburton. We're going to throw this out there and see what happens.
It is weird when you do see the Halliburtons standing next to each other. His dad's just like this little guy.
Yeah.
And Halliburton's a big dude.
But I understand Zach's frustration by the question. His name is Talk Hoops, not Talk Dads. Okay? Talk Hoops.
When we come back, hey, you know what we set up? I know you have a baseball diamond dish set up, but I also kind of have some notes 2 months in to the baseball season where we stand. I feel like we haven't done a ton of baseball just because it has been the NHL and NBA postseason. And obviously we had the draft NFL-wise, so we have that to get to as well. But when we return, we will get our bets in for Game 4 in Minnesota. As you mentioned, it's 3. Actually, a shop just went down to 2.5. So Oklahoma City, 2.5, but mostly everybody showing 3 and 219 on the total. Our bets and your predictions, 888-623-3646. Coming back here, VSiN Live. It's Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, quick hit. If you want to get the picks for tonight's Game 4 in Minneapolis, go to vsin.com/subscribe. Use the promo code SIRIUS. That'll set you up through August 1st. Get you everything, including the props, a million plays on tonight's Game 4. But you have everything. You get the guides, you get the splits, become a more sophisticated, better. vsin.com/subscribe, promo code SIRIUS. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Meagher. We are yet to get underway. We'll give you an update on the hockey game. Like you said, it had touched 3.5 with Oklahoma City laying it. I do see a 2.5 in the market, but mostly everybody's showing 3. Game hasn't tipped yet. 3 and 219.5. I very easily made the decision to lay the 3 with the Oklahoma City Thunder and feel very good about it. Maybe we'll have another story tomorrow when we come into VSiN Live, but I think they were embarrassed defensively. I think Oklahoma City is going to be a freaking monster tonight.
Yeah, and I think they're rested. I think these guys are locked in. They got their little mulligan out of the way, and Minnesota won when they had to. Minnesota's back was against the wall. They couldn't go down 3-0. Teams don't come back when they're in that situation, so they got their win. They were supposed to do that. They took care of business. Now Oklahoma City goes back to being the dominant form that we've seen, and even if they don't get out to a hot start, we saw games 1 and 2. Come out of the locker rooms, they go on a run, that defense becomes suffocating, and all of a sudden Minnesota looks up and it's like a 13-0 run for the Thunder, and now Minnesota's losing in the game and they never look back. So that has been a problem for them. From a prop perspective, I'll throw one out there, the rest of them over at vsin.com/picks. I think you're going to see a concerted effort for ball movement with the Thunder coming off a loss. We're going to look at Jalen Williams over 4.5 assists. Over this in games 1 and 2, only played 25 minutes in game 3. He cleared this number in all 4 regular season games versus the T-Wolves. That makes him 6 of 7 to the over against Minnesota. I think a lot of ball movement for the team. Jalen Williams over 4.5 assists. The rest, vsin.com/picks.
How many did you post? Because if you got one
4
more prop, you can. Okay, give me one more.
Let's keep up that theme. SGA, everyone feeds off of what he does. So aside from ball movement, I think we're going to see a lot more effort crashing the glass. It begins with him and his attitude. Over 11.5 rebounds and assists. He cleared this in 5 of the last 6 games coming off a loss. Only one he didn't was a blowout game 7 versus Denver. In the regular season against Minnesota, he went over this number in 3 of 4. So that's SGA over 11.5 rebounds and assists combined.
Yeah, I like that. I didn't even think about it until you just said it. Holy moly, what the starters played for the Oklahoma City Thunder in Game 3. Gilgeous-Alexander, 27. Williams played 24. Chet Holmgren played 20 minutes. Hartenstein played 19.
Yeah.
Pulled the plug quite early.
Now, the one concern I would have is like Randall didn't play the 4th quarter for Minnesota because they were up by so many. So Minnesota did rest some guys, but for Oklahoma City, I still think they have an edge because they realize like live to fight another day. We're not going to waste anything good here. Save everything for game 4 and take care of business.
Yeah. No, I would.
It's now 3.5 at DraftKings, by the way.
Oh, it has jumped up to 3.5. That's so weird.
That just happened.
BetMGM's 2.5. DraftKings, as you said it in real time on my board, just went to 3.5. So that most likely means at least at DraftKings, Oklahoma City Thunder money coming in right before tip.
Yeah, I'll tell you, DraftKings, we have the betting splits over at VSiN. This is a good time to look at them. It tells you where the money's going, where the sharp action is, because the handle and the bets don't equal the same number. So when there's more money than bets placed, lets you know big bets being placed on that team. And it's saying that OKC, 73% of the bets of the money on just 65% of the bets on the Thunder. Let's look at Circa, which is a sharp.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you have
action?
Yeah, do you have the Circa numbers just out of curiosity?
Yeah, I'm blown away. Circa has 83% of the money on just 40% of the bets on Minnesota +3. So completely different. Wow. And a bigger disparity.
Maybe you should explain, let them know the reason that we give 2 when you become a pro, the reason we give both DraftKings and Circa is why, as far as the betting splits.
2 different places, 2 different clienteles. DraftKings is a national sports book. They're cleared in a lot of states throughout the country. So you get more of a public perception where most average bettors are putting their money. Circa is the sharpest sports book in the country. In Vegas, it's where all the big bettors come because they will take big action. And with that, that's why that number speaks more to me from Circa backing Minnesota +3. 83% of the money on just 40% of the bets lets you know the people who are backing Minnesota are putting down way bigger numbers in terms of the amount they're betting on the Timberwolves over the people betting the Thunder.
Yeah. No, it's well explained. They're just to give an idea, Derek Stevens, who owns Circa, they tend to, and Benson, who runs the sportsbook, they want to go old school with how they approach booking. So they won't limit quote unquote sharp bettors. They will take action, which is something I think is also a misnomer. People don't realize in Vegas, action is limited. In particular, like, he's a donk, but like a Fezzik who used to come on the show, like if he goes to South Point, they don't take his action because they feel like maybe some untoward business, but not really. I mean, certain books will outlaw or limit certain bettors, and Circa's just like, screw that, we'll take your bets.
Yeah, there's also weird things in this industry that people get all bent out of shape about when it comes to like betting. And if someone hammers a number that is a rogue or bad or whatever, and somehow the book says you shouldn't bet that, you should be looking out for me when they got the number posted. It's fair game. Like weird stuff happens all the time.
Yeah. They'll call it like it's a stale number. So there'll be a number posted, and if a bettor comes in and bets it, there's supposed to be this unwritten protocol amongst the bettor and the book.
It's so dumb.
It is honestly something that I've never conceptualized.
No, like
you're dumb enough clerically to have a number posted. A bettor takes advantage of it, and you expect them to be on good faith.
Yeah, like if a sportsbook leaves up the halftime line of tonight's basketball game, and the third quarter's already underway, and you realize they've left the number up there and you can bet it, and some team started the third quarter on a 8-0 run, so you know they have a massive 8-point advantage with the bet, and they haven't adjusted that number, somehow it's on you to not bet it and protect the book, not on them to pull it down. It's like walking into a clothing store and they left the 50% off sticker from the sale the week before, but you're supposed to alert them, hey, they shouldn't have this sticker on it. I should be paying full price.
I don't want to save money, and my gut says you guys messed up, so it's none of it, especially
it doesn't add up.
Gambling. It's literally about finding an edge. So if you post a stale number, quote unquote, it's the bettor's opportunity to take advantage of your stupidity.
No, the number's the number. And everything's run with computer. Also, things are run with computers anyway. Your computer should be aligned when the game starts and when points start happening to pull it off the board.
Yeah, I've never understood. As many times, in our good friend Vinny Maliulo over at South Point, has he tried to explain it to me, and I've never understood the good faith notion behind, a racket.
Well, because the misconception they like to tell you is, no, we want everyone to win. Everyone just wins the VIG. Everything will be fine. But how come the casinos always look new and they're getting additions and they're getting updated all the time? I feel like the goal is for the book to win. I don't know.
All bookmakers or people that work behind the counter or at casinos, if they have a bad day, they'll say, well, we were able to turn the lights on today.
Yeah.
They do shtick. Like, yeah, we know you're rich.
Yeah, they could buy your town tomorrow.
We get it, boys. We get it. We are underway in Minneapolis. Ooh. We'll come back, get you an update with the Thunder T-Wolves, and also update you on a game underway in Sunrise, Florida between the Hurricanes and the Panthers. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
SiriusXM is giving you a chance to win a trip for two to Game 2. Wow. Game 2 of the NBA Finals, including hotel and airfare. How about that? Tune into NBA Radio this week on Tuesday and Wednesday, May 27th and the 28th, for clues throughout the day to the contest and the chance to call at 6 p.m. East. For full contest information and official rules, visit SiriusXM.com/NBA Finals 2025 Trivia. Open only to trial or paid subscribers since at least May 13th who are 18 years of age or older. U.S. residents only. No additional purchase necessary. The NBA entities, as defined in the official rules, have not offered or sponsored this sweepstakes in any way. That's pretty cool. So again, tomorrow, check out NBA Radio for your chance, and Wednesday for your chance to win a trip for two plus airfare and hotel to Game 2 of the NBA Finals. As we do welcome you back here, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Meagher. Just quickly, an update here. Oklahoma City, a 3-point lead with 6 to play, 18-15 in the first. Kind of a back-and-forth affair with some scoring early. That total is in danger with these two teams kind of trading baskets early here, big guy. As you mentioned, Hartenstein with a couple, 3 rebounds so far. Just back-and-forth action thus far.
Yeah, look, I hate to do this. I know I just turned 40 a couple months ago, but I know I've gotten old. I see a travel on every single possession of an NBA game. That's how I know I've gotten too old and too white. I see a travel every play. There's been travels left and right. Your live number, Oklahoma City still laying 3.5. 227.5 is your total. It's 18-17 going into the first timeout.
All right, not much has changed 6 minutes in. We are at the first intermission in Sunrise, Florida. And this has been, an under series. And we do have a zippy tie with the Hurricanes and Panthers. Well, at least Saturday cashed under. I know that. Hurricanes, Panthers tied up at nothing at the end of first. So first intermission there.
Yeah, and they went back to Anderson and net, did Carolina, which was a weird move over the weekend where things didn't go well for the backup. I don't even remember his name. Thought that was odd. Now Anderson back in net. He's playing pretty well to start. I don't like that. I laid a puck and a half with Florida in this spot. And I think we both agreed during the break. Florida Panthers. Could you have been less imaginative when you were naming this expansion team in the 90s? Like when I think of South Florida where they're located, I think of Panthers as more of like a North Florida thing, inland, but you're in South Florida. Shouldn't we be doing like iguanas or reptiles or something that speaks to the ocean?
Or what is the swamp to the west of the state and that's
Everglades?
Yeah, why you got to do there's something in the Everglades that you name the Southern Florida hockey team after.
Just call it the Florida Everglades. That's a cool name in and of itself. We got the Oklahoma City Thunder playing tonight. That's a good name. Now, do I know if it thunders a lot in Oklahoma City? No, but I know they have a lot of tornadoes, and I imagine thunders come with that. But yeah, Everglades would have been a perfect name, and you could have used a million different animals in that spot.
Makes a lot of sense. On a Memorial Day, we again salute a lot of throwaway holidays in our country, but certainly one worthy is Memorial Day as we celebrate the men and women of our military on this day, which is an opportunity I know for a lot of you. I hope you had an opportunity to take the day off, have an extended weekend with the family. So that is that. We do have a game 4 coming up tomorrow. Just quickly, the Oilers yesterday put it on the Stars. And it's 6-1, absolutely dominated. The Oilers look like that is a team that I felt should have lost to the Kings. But here they are, a couple of wins away from returning to the Stanley Cup final. And tomorrow night, you do have Edmonton, a pretty big favorite, up to $1.60.
Yeah, the Oilers have figured something out. One, Skinner he's playing really well in net right now. Didn't see that one coming. This is a team that went to the final a year ago, and now in back-to-back games, they've outscored Dallas 9-1. Offense was always going to be electric for Edmonton, but getting the goalie play, I think I saw Skinner out there for the Conn Smythe 60-1. Maybe we'll ask Samich on the show tomorrow. Is that worth a flyer?
Yeah, and in that one, McDavid had a couple of points.
Dude, Evander Kane had
McDavid
3 assists. Another guy had 3 assists. It was a crazy box score.
Yeah, McDavid had 2 goals. You just looked at McDavid. Draisaitl had an assist. So yeah, but they're deep. They're going a little bit deeper than we're used to, even last year. And you mentioned it, Skinner has been awesome in net. So we'll follow that one tomorrow. Again, first intermission right now down in Florida, zippy. Quickly as we come back from break here, Oklahoma City does lead Minnesota 20-17, 5:25 to play. Maybe we get an updated number there, big guy.
Yeah.
I'm a little behind. Freaking YouTube TV is killing me. Can we get up to date?
Oh, I got to
people?
send you the instructions. There's instructions to get rid of the delay. I can get you pretty much even with regular TV. Apparently, they have a built-in delay. My conspiracy is the sportsbook sponsor that and make them do that so we can't get good live numbers. Oklahoma City, 20-17. It was 4.5 for a moment. They're laying 3.5 again. Totals all the way up to 224 and a hook, though. Thus far, a lot of Jaden McDaniels having a really nice day. 10 points, early scoring leader for this one. On the other side, for OKC, Jalen Williams, 8 points, important to get him going. The question is Jalen Williams a number 2? It feels like he's in that Julius Randle where he's more of a 3 than a 2, but every now and then steps up, can play like a 2. But that's big for OKC to get him going early in this game.
We're going to have our buddy Dexter Henry on from the Post here talking Knicks, Pacers in just a bit. Just quickly on that number coming up tomorrow. I mean, it's a facsimile. It's 2.5 with Indiana, 220.5 on the total, which has come down.
Yeah, I hate it. As a Knicks fan, I hate it because I'm so scared to believe. I'm so scared to believe that they're back in this thing.
Don't sandbag. You're either in on your team or you're not. Dexter Henry, I know he's in on the Knicks. He's going to join us next. VSiN Live. It's Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Quickly, an update on the game in progress. It's Game 4 in Minneapolis after the 2-point blowout on Saturday. Right now, Oklahoma City, 4:23 to play in the first, leads 22-17. Back and forth in that one, some scoring early. But we're going to shift our focus quickly. Before we shift our focus, you can get the newsletter, vsin.com/newsletter. If you want to be set up tomorrow with the day's betting menu, there's no obligation. Just go to vsin.com/newsletter, enter your email address, and you're good to go. Dustin's Knicks pull out a miraculous win yesterday, and during the game, you could have watched Dexter Henry on the live stream, which he does each game for Knicks games on the New York Post's YouTube page, which is easy to find. Tremendous content there. Podcast is New York Got Game at DHenryTV. Dexter, first off, thank you for doing this on a Memorial Day. You said something which I wrote down because I totally agree. If the Knicks go in there tomorrow in Game 4 and blow out the Pacers, no surprise. If the Knicks go in there tomorrow and get blown out by the Pacers, no surprise, and that is this series.
Yeah, the playoffs. You guys, we were talking about this just as I came on. Look, the playoffs have been wacky. We can use whatever word you want to use. It's been wacky. It's been unpredictable. And then you look in the Eastern Conference, just this Knicks run, just being on top of it, right? It's been insane from the games in Detroit, the first 2 games in Boston, where the Knicks come back from down 20. They do it again. A first team ever in playoff history to come back down 20 plus points 3 times. It's really insane, guys. But look, I thought the Knicks would win. I picked the Knicks in 6 in this series. I thought they had more talent, but I wasn't taking Indiana lightly. I'm not surprised Indiana won the first 2 games. I thought how Indiana could beat the Knicks was with their speed, with their depth. That has been a factor throughout the first 3 games. We saw Tom Thibodeau adjust to a 9-man rotation in Game 3. Now, the question is, will he continue to do that? He was forced to do that a little bit because of foul trouble to Deuce McBride, to Jalen Brunson, to Karl-Anthony Towns. Will he continue to do that? That is the question. But look, Patrick and Dustin, anything can happen, man. Anything can happen in this playoff series. And I do think the Knicks are going to even this up, but wouldn't shock me if the Pacers are up 3-1 after 4 games.
Hey, Dexter, I hope you're right, man, because too much of my emotion hinges on Landry Shamet and DeLon Wright coming off the bench and hitting shots, something I didn't anticipate this situation for us right now as Knicks fans. Give us a vibe of where New York is right now with Tom Thibodeau, because it's a tumultuous relationship. I admitted early in the show that, in that third quarter, I was already planning on, Mike Malone will come in, he'll figure some things out, he'll open up the offense, maybe people will join. Like, I already thought that Thibodeau was out the door, but then Tibbs shows he's willing to adjust, and to his credit, he actually made adjustments in the starting lineup with Mitchell Robinson over Josh Hart. Where is the city? Where's the fan base on Thibodeau right now?
The fan base has really, questioned what you're questioning there, right? Which is, can Tom Thibodeau be malleable? We haven't seen that from him on a consistent basis. I do think he gets a little bit of a bad rap, Dustin, in terms of not playing younger guys or running them into the ground. He has made adjustments in the playoffs. He did it in Boston, went to a switch everything defense, which he didn't show during the regular season. Would you have liked to have seen him made some adjustments earlier in this series? Yes. I think that's fair. But sometimes when he's forced to make adjustments, he does, like we saw on Sunday night in Game 3. I think the fan base is cautiously optimistic, is what I'll say, that he will make adjustments in Game 4 or stick to the 9-man rotation. Now, Dustin, you said that you're nervous about Landry Shamet and, DeLon Wright and banking your chances on them. But what I think you should feel good about is those are professional guys. DeLon Wright's a really good defender. Landry Shamet will give you effort on defense. And if he knocks down some threes, then you're cooking with gas. But I think what you can feel good about is those guys won you minutes on Sunday night, right? Can they help win you possessions? Can they help win you minutes? And just not mess it up. Just hold it down till some of your main regulars get back in. I do think those guys could do it. And when you're playing the Pacers, who play 10, 11 deep at times with Rick Carlisle, you have to get fresh legs. You have to have other guys in there contributing. Even if they give you, those guys only combined for 5 points, DeLon Wright and Landry Shamet, but they were a big 5 points. And Landry Shamet, I believe, was a plus 13, it was plus 12 or plus 13 in the contest. So they played winning basketball for you. And if they can do that, you'll feel good. I think it's a better alternative, Dustin, than you seeing Tom Thibodeau go with 7 guys, because he's not going to play campaign anymore. So if he's going 7 guys, you're done on campaign. Yeah, I think a lot of the fan base was too, right? And I thought that's a move that Tibbs should get credit for. Campaign has not been consistent. Campaign has not been good. I think a lot of Knicks fans were done with him after what they saw in game 2. And Tom Thibodeau said, nope, DeLon Wright was his first guard off the bench. And I think that's how it's going to be going forward.
Dexter, modern media is awesome because, Knicks fans can jump in a live stream with you, reacting to, on the New York Post website, reacting to the games in real time. It's not easy for a host when the Knicks are down 2-0 and they're down 20 points in the second. So walk us through the freaking emotion where the Knicks actually started game 3 well, then the pace would settle in, and then they just jump out to that 20-point lead. Like, walk us through what you were going through there.
So, honestly, guys, you guys know this, right? Because you're hosting the show. You can plan for certain things, but when you're doing it with live sports, and you guys do live shows too, you never know what's going to happen. So when you're down 20, you're like, man, is the season going to be over? And a lot of what I do in hosting those shows in particular, a lot of it is dictated by what the fans are talking about in the chat, in the live chat. And fans were saying, this is it for Tibbs. It's over. There was a lot of it's over. I'll tell you that. A lot of it's over is what was going on. And so myself and my co-host, Brian Fonseca, and our guests, we kind of shifted to talking about what could the Knicks look to do if this was it and they don't come back in the series, if they lose and go down 3-0 on Sunday night. Was there a different kind of coach? Would there be change with players? How would they improve their depth on this team, which has been an issue? All those things were going through my head. And all I kept saying was, look, the lead is between 15 and 20. Please don't let it get to 30. Because if it gets to 30, that's a rough time. You know what I mean? I do some play-by-play too. When you're doing that in a blowout, it's tough because you're just trying to tell stories and keep things moving and keep people interested, because people aren't interested in what's on the screen when it's 30 points in the fourth quarter. So thankfully we didn't get there, but that was kind of my mindset, was like, what can we talk about with the future? Mike Malone, his name came up. Other coaches' name came up. Giannis Antetokounmpo came up. So a lot of different directions we were going on that broadcast for game 3.
Now I'm curious how game 1 went, because look, Halliburton hits the step back. Luckily, it's not a 3, goes to overtime. Somehow Indiana still wins that game. And coming off that game, man, Dexter, as a Knicks fan, that's the worst I've felt about any of my teams since like Tom Glavine 2007 for the Mets.
Oh, you're a Mets fan too.
Yeah. It's tough life, man. It's not easy. So that's the only comparison I have where I just felt so miserable about how my team looked in a crucial situation. What was game 1 like, and what was the fallout like for you?
Man, I don't remember. I'm really trying to think about it now you say it, Dustin. I don't remember a sporting event around New York sports, as long as I've been covering it, that was that much of a gut punch. It's funny you mentioned 2007 and 2008 at Citi Field, last games of the year. I was actually there for both of those games, so I understand what you were feeling. But you could tell a lot of the fan base, I got the vibe, just some content I did after, was just that this was a major gut punch. How are the Knicks going to be able to recover from this? Obviously, you had comparisons to game 1, that series years ago where Reggie Miller has the 8 points in 9 seconds. There was the comparisons there, and you have Tyrese Halliburton doing the choke. So I think a lot of Knicks fans were very defeated. Then you combine that with what happened in game 2, and it was like, can we compete in the series? Can we get a win? So I think it's very disappointing, because there was a high for Knicks fans coming off the Boston series, and then immediately those emotions got checked. So it was tough. And then, honestly, doing that broadcast, I was stunned by that Tyrese Halliburton shot. We had posted something on our socials of me watching it, and I was stunned by that shot. The Knicks were lucky it was a 2 and not a 3, and his foot was on the line, because I actually think that would have been worse than it hadn't gone to overtime. So I was stunned by it in real time. I thought the Knicks could possibly come back in OT. They did not, but that is one of the most shocking games I've ever watched in NBA playoff history, and I watch a lot of basketball, and that was pretty shocking.
Dexter, what's in the chat? What do Knicks fans think about Karl Anthony Towns?
That's a good question. What do they think about him? I'll tell you what they were thinking about him in the third quarter yesterday. That was we might want to get this guy out of town. People were putting him in the trade machine for Giannis Antetokounmpo. But if I'm being like, that's true, and fans were feeling that way. But I think the overall feeling is that he's a maddening player to watch, right? You know the high level of his talent and what he can do. I don't think anybody's surprised at his talent and what he did, scoring 20 points in the fourth quarter in game 3. I said on the broadcast he had disappeared. He hadn't shown up at all for game 3. He had 4 points going into the fourth quarter. And I said there's going to be a lot of vitriol that was coming his way. What was funny is at that point in the game, I knew that no matter what, when we did our post game, the talk was going to be about Cat. He turned it from negative to positive, and that was good for him. I think the biggest frustration, though, Patrick, that fans have with him is that his inability to stay on the floor because of stupid fouls, stupid ticky-tack fouls. I think that's the frustration, and sometimes he's not as aggressive as you would like him to be. When you saw the way he played in the fourth quarter, he's hitting from the outside, the mid-range. He's attacking the rim. He had that amazing finish with the left hand where he got the and one. When he's mixing that up and playing within himself and within control, I mean, he's one of the best bigs in the league. But you don't always see that consistently. Now, what I think is weird, though, guys, is he's had some big-time playoff games thus far. Game 4 against Detroit, he was tremendous there. So you know he's got it in him. You just wish it was a little bit more consistent. And I think that's where Knicks fans are. They're frustrated with him at times, but they know that he does play with a lot of passion, and they do love that about him.
Yeah, he's so tough to deal with just because the highs can potentially be the best player on the floor in any given night against just about any team in the league. And the lows are a head case who just like psychs himself out of a big game and then he's unplayable. How about the Brunson piece? Because I feel like this is super delicate for the Knicks to deal with right now. He gets into foul trouble, and he hasn't looked totally great against Indiana. A lot of isolation with him being so ball dominant, and then things opened up with him off the floor for everyone else. Obviously, Brunson's the guy who brought you here, but do you think there's a bigger conversation about how the Knicks are using this offensive attack right now, where it feels like the ball's in his hands till like 17 on the shot clock, and it's like, here, someone come up with something with 7 seconds left. Do you think they adjust how they're using him?
I would like them to, and a lot of the fan base would. Like, listen, Brunson is beloved here in NYC. The fan base loves him, but I think the diehard Knick fan like yourself, Dustin, has said, hey, the offense is sometimes just too heliocentric. And I think that has hurt the Knicks at times throughout the playoffs. When they've been rolling well, when they've had their comebacks, you know, you look at games 1 and 2 against Boston, you look at even game 6 against Detroit, it's been because other guys are getting involved. And you see when other guys are getting fed, whether it's OG Anunoby, whether it's Mikal Bridges, you see them have that increased intensity, I would say, even on the defensive end. I think Brunson is such a good closer, and we saw that even in game 3, once he gets back in the game with 137 to go, he hits a couple big shots, and the Knicks never give back the lead. I would like to see the Knicks make that adjustment in Tom Thibodeau to get it a little bit more involved. I think the Knicks are way too heliocentric. I think it slows down everything for the other team. They know what's coming in the isolation. Is it a strength of Brunson, guys? Absolutely. He's one of the guys in this league. You want the ball in his hands when things are tight, but you don't want it to stagnate things so much that when you're trying to either get back in the game or extend the lead, it can cost you. So look, you know this, Dustin, Tom Thibodeau has not been a coach very quick to adjust. I'm not saying he'll never adjust. He has not been quick to adjust. And I think that diversifying the offense a little bit is something that no matter what happens in the series, whether the Knicks advance or they go to the offseason, I think that's something that's really going to be talked about. And that'll be talked about too, whether Tom Thibodeau is going to be the coach for this team going forward, because I do think they have to modernize a bit offensively in terms of how their sets look, but also how many players they're playing in their rotation.
Dexter, I'll ask, and Dustin, I want you to answer this one as well. As a Knicks fan tomorrow, game 4, Dustin, I'll start with you and we'll finish with Dexter. What game do you want from Mikal Bridges, Dustin?
You know what? I want them to let Bridges create. I've flipped the coin where, what was it, the Detroit series, Patrick? I said he's the worst player in the history of basketball. I've now come around to the point where I think the Knicks have been misusing him. He's been miscast as a corner 3-point shooter. And the moments where Brunson takes a breather, lets Bridges cook, and create on offense with that fadeaway, he's been lethal with it. So I think for Mikal Bridges, play the defense that he plays because he's awesome on that end of the floor. But let's give Brunson some breathers and let the offense run through Bridges at times because he's better used in that way.
Dexter?
Yeah, I'm with Dustin on this, but I want to see him. I thought he didn't shoot the ball that well last night outside of that stretch in the third quarter where he had a huge 6-0 run by himself, 3 consecutive baskets, and I thought that was big for him. But I want to see him a little bit more efficient. His defense has been fantastic through the playoffs, so I have no issue with him on that end. I think if you look at some of the Knicks' best wins, it's when he has had what Dustin said, which is he's had some opportunities with Brunson off the floor to have the ball in his hands. He's had about 4 or 5 assists. He's had the shot creation in the mid-range. He can really cook there. And I think it just makes the Knicks better. He's their second best creator with the ball in his hands. He's the second best creator with the ball in his hands. And I think he could be utilized a little bit more. Now, to be honest, it's year 1 for him. I think there'll be more adjustment for him going forward, but it's something I would like to see out of Mikal Bridges, who I think has had a bounce back playoffs after a very up and down offensive regular season.
Yeah, I think he's been awesome in the post. He had made big time defensive plays in the postseason to end games. All right, so we started with you could see a 20-point blowout going either way. You're going to be doing the live stream for the post tomorrow. Let's get what you think's going to happen. The number, just from a betting perspective, so you know, Dexter, is the Pacers laying 2.5. That's the exact same number they were laying in Game 3. Let's play this game out. Game 4. What do you got?
If it was me, in terms of betting, I was intrigued to see if that number. I'll still be intrigued to see if it drops any tomorrow. Would it go down to 1.5? That would be interesting there too. I'd still hit that Knicks money line if I was folks on this. I think the Knicks are going to play a strong game. I think they know what's at stake here. I think they know that they have to play with the desperation that they didn't play for a complete 48 minutes in Game 3. Look, the Knicks have yet to play a complete 48-minute game in this series, and I think they have one in them. I think they know they survived the game where Brunson had a terrible game at 4 turnovers. He didn't really shoot the ball well. I like the Knicks to win this game. I think the Knicks are going to win this game tomorrow night. So if you like that Knicks plus 2.5, I'd say you can rock with that. If you like that Knicks money line, I'd rock with that too. I think the Knicks win this game. I do not think it's a blowout by any means, Patrick. I like the Knicks winning. I would say somewhere between 6 to 8 points. I think they get this win done. Yeah, I think it's tight, but they get it done.
Take that juice on the money line, Dexter.
Yeah, take that juice on the money line. Yeah.
Let's say, Dexter, our vibes are off here, and the Knicks season ends this series, right? It ends in the conference finals. They don't make the final, but they did get past Boston. How do you grade this season as a whole? Is it a success for the Knicks?
Well, let me ask you this. As I'm just going to push back on that question for you. How does it end? Does it end in 5? Does it end in 6? Does it end in 7? Or what do we say?
Yeah, let's say it ends in 6.
Let's say it ends in 6. Yeah, it's a success to me because I would have said I think reasonable, all of us who cover the team or fans of the team, I think would have said this was the year they needed to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. And the talk was they built this team to beat Boston, and they beat Boston. They got to the conference finals, and now you have to look at, okay, the Pacers aren't going anywhere. The Cavs aren't going anywhere. Boston's probably taking a step back without Tatum next year. How do you move forward? But yes, I would consider it a success because the Knicks had been in the second round for 3 straight years, and they got past it. So I would consider it a success. Would it be a disappointing finish? Absolutely. Particularly with how they lost Game 1, right? I think that's the stinger of it. If they lose this series, particularly with how they lost Game 1 and Game 2, the Knicks could look at this and say, a couple of plays here or a more complete game here, we could be up 2-1 or we could be up 3-0. But that's the playoffs. The margins are very thin. And I do think, I would say Dustin is success, but it would have a little bit of disappointment at the end because I think you would agree with me on this, and other Knicks fans have said this. Before the start of the series, Knicks fans felt, man, we have a legit chance to get to the finals for the first time since 1999. And we might have a legit chance to win this all, depending on how things breaks. So Yeah, I think that part would be disappointing, but I still think if you're rational, you have to say you would have signed for Eastern Conference Finals appearance before the start of the season.
Total
yeah,
success.
I agree with all that. It's a building block. They were ahead of schedule a year ago. They were super aggressive in the offseason. They added 2 awesome pieces, right, talent-wise, to give them a really quality starting 5. And they made it to the finals, right? The conference finals. So everything's building. You have to view it as a success.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
Think about the Phil Jackson era with the Knicks. And
man. I mean, Knicks fans don't want to think about that at all. Trust me, they do not want to think about that at all.
No, my man was struggling. Dexter's going into the live stream tomorrow on the New York Post YouTube page. Very confident. He said, take the juice with the money line. We're going to even up this series at 2. Dexter Henry, New York Post anchor. You can check out the podcast, New York Got Game, at DHenryTV on Twitter. Thanks, Dexter. That was great, man. Enjoy the game tomorrow.
That was fun, guys. You enjoyed the game too. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. We'll do it again.
Thank you so much. Appreciate
All
it,
right.
Dexter. That's like that is what I like about modern media is an opportunity. It's like we call it a second screen. You don't generally just sit there watching the broadcast. You're generally mixed in doing something else. So an opportunity if you're a Knicks fan to jump in on the Post live stream with Dexter and watch along and get involved in the chat, just like you can get involved in our chat on YouTube at VSiN Live during the program.
Did you invent the second screen? I'm not even joking right now. I'm not doing shtick. No, I'm not doing shtick. Because when I first started with you in 2016, you were like, hey, man, the one thing I won't do, there's games on when we're on. I'm not counter-programming. I'm not doing topics that have nothing to do with what's on right now. People care about what's on, so I'm going to talk about it, and I'll do topics with it. And then it feels like the entire world started doing the second screen thing where, like, put us on. And I feel I'm not doing shtick. I promise you. I think you started this trend.
I'll take credit. There's always a second stream at the crib because the Oklahoma City Thunder and Minnesota Timberwolves, when I get done, are going to be on the iPad, and there's going to be a documentary on the big TV.
Oh, do we know what documentary is going to be playing yet? Have we figured that out, or is it just like YOLO?
Dude, I watched I already told you last week, I watched for like the third time the Ulysses S. Grant and Robert E. Lee documentary, which was done by PBS, which was a freaking banger.
Oh wait, it's one about both of them?
Both of them.
Like together?
At the same time. They both went to West Point. They obviously faced off against one another in the Civil War. That's tremendous. That's a 10 out of 10.
Well, one's a traitor, but yeah, sure.
well, some Virginia leanings for sure for old Robert E. Lee. One liked to have a cocktail or two, and that was U.S. Grant.
Oh yeah. No, he only functioned well when he had one. That's the problem.
Never was without a cigar, and had throat cancer. So
I could also appreciate that he was a man that only thrived in chaos. Like he needed war, he needed something crazy. He couldn't handle just regular, average, everyday life. It just broke him down. It bored him.
You know what's surprising about U.S. Grant? We can talk about it and we'll give you an update on the in-game number here in just a second. But Ulysses S. Grant, what's surprising about him, because both he and Lee, scholars of war, would say both were uber aggressive, like weren't afraid to throw their men out there to get the job done, if you know what I'm saying. Like sacrifice.
Well, because they realized the power that would come with winning that war. You control that new country, right?
Not overly cautious, I would say, both Ulysses S. Grant and Robert E. Lee.
Well, and one generally didn't care about a lot of his troops because, he was using slaves. So,
well, I would just say this. U.S. Grant had such an aversion to blood. Like,
wait, really?
Didn't like to see animals hurt. Just really had a crazy aversion to blood and watched the most catastrophic bloodshed our country's ever experienced. It's not even close. So interesting.
Yeah, I feel like he chose the wrong line of work if he didn't want to see blood. It feels like an issue if you want to lead wars.
Then U.S. Grant got involved. His son got him involved, kind of like a Ponzi or pyramid scheme late in life, lost his family's fortune. On his deathbed, wrote his autobiography, which is one of the great to this day, very plainly written, very readable, very accessible, wrote his autobiography which he then left for his wife and family to profit off of, and he died right after he wrote it. Throat cancer.
The one thing I really appreciate about both of them is dropping the middle initial in the full name. Like, there could be another Ulysses Grant out there, but it's not Ulysses S. Grant. There's definitely another Robert Lee, but Robert E. Lee, you know exactly who you're talking about. U.S.
Grant is a pretty apt name on a Memorial Day. U.S. Grant.
Yeah. Ulysses is a name we should bring back. A lot of these names come back. They become retro. Ulysses is a name we got to bring back.
Okay, then you do this. You do this. You go home tonight and you sell to your girlfriend, if you were to have a son, naming your son Ulysses Swedelson.
That's a good name. That flows off the tongue, if you ask me.
Ulysses.
That signature. I'm getting carpal tunnel thinking about the signature in cursive.
If we're being honest, it's tough to match up names to Swedelson.
No,
but
yeah,
Ulysses that's a lot of syllables. Ulysses Swedelson.
A lot of S's. A lot of kid can't have a lisp. He's screwed.
Well played. Well played. Let's get the in-game number, as we ended up laying it with the Thunder coming into Game 4 off a bounce back. They do lead 50. They lead by 9 with 6:45 to play. The Thunder up 53-44. So a ton of scoring in this one.
Yeah, look, they're laying 6.5 right now in game. Totals all the way up to 242.5. Would we close around 219? And I got to tell you, you're saying there's a lot of scoring. There's not a lot of scoring coming from Anthony Edwards. Right now, Minnesota with 44 points, and Anthony Edwards has 2 of them. 2 points for the quote-unquote face of the NBA.
Oh.
Okay, people, keep falling for that okie doke.
You love it. You love the face of the NBA combo. Ulysses Swedelson.
Who is
it
the
rolls
last
off the tongue.
Ulysses? Famous
rolls
people named Ulysses.
What?
Other than Grant.
I'm afraid to ask this question, but I do feel like, and you can't get mad at this, but I do feel like if you had a son, it would be named after like a sports person.
Yeah, Dwight and Daryl.
Dwight Swedelson.
Dwight and Daryl.
Daryl Swedelson.
Yeah, those are the names. But if you think my girlfriend will let me have any control in naming our future children, that will not happen.
By the way,
you already know that.
I'll answer the question. I don't think that.
No, it's 0% chance, because I do want to name them Dwight and Daryl.
You should name just one son, Dwight and Daryl Swedelson.
No, Dwight, Daryl, Strawberry, Swedelson.
Yes, exactly. It rolls off the tongue. When we come back, speaking of Dwight and Daryl, they played for the Mets. How are the Mets doing 2 months into the season? Where does Major League Baseball stand 2 months into the season? We have a Memorial Day roundup. That was about as professional of a hosting job I've ever done.
That was a real tease. We're going to pay it off then, I guess.
Well, it's baseball, so it's not going to be that exciting. When we come back, it's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
It's Memorial Day. We might have a memorial for Isaiah Ramirez as he just took a shot from the big guy. They're coming back from break. The big guy solo hosting over at VSiN last night, filling in for Joe Cerudo. And all we said, and Isaiah, I got your back on this one, Mr. Raptor. All we said was, how'd the 3-hour show go? And Dustin said, it was great. I had 5 guests. Isaiah's quote was, Jesus Christ?
Yeah. I mean, calling out JC's name on a holiday.
I was taken aback as well. 5 seems heavy. I would just prefer hear your take on things. Maybe you, Florio, for a bit.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But you got through the 3-hour sojourn, and that's a good job by you.
That show is on so late that it actually might have been too early for Florio.
We got Dustin at the Win, the Sirius XM studios, which are stunning, and our buddy John Goulet, who did an amazing job as our boss back in the day at VSiN. He's rolling his eyes. He's like, I never would have put that kid solo at night, even if it is filling it for Cerudo.
Hey, you ask, people say yes. That's what I'm learning. If you shoot your shot, sometimes people say yes. Sometimes they regret it. They mostly regret it when it involves me, but in this case, I got what I wanted.
No, you got what you wanted. You carried Cerudo's lunch. Hey, let's
okay.
I'm gonna pause on that. Well, you flex. If you're gonna flex, there's always a way to bring you down. You know that.
Yeah, and I know you're always gonna do it. So.
I'm right here. I'm here for you. I am here for you. You were flexing about Mike Florio, right? You back. We should circle back. Before we circle back on that, 9-point lead for Oklahoma City.
You know what? Yeah.
What?
No, after you give the update, I got something.
No, go ahead. You got an in-game number?
Oh, I was going to say, it's 56-51 OKC up. Thunder laying 4.5. Totals 242.5. But more importantly, it's May 26th, 9:36 p.m. Eastern time. We've yet to hear Michael Lombardi's comments on Jordan Hudson.
What do you mean? We should probably reset it?
Yeah.
Inside joke?
Yeah.
Florio today on a holiday just wrote a hit piece about Michael Lombardi. Lombardi was hanging out with Millie, minding his own business.
Just having some breakfast. Opens up PFT.
And knowing Lombardi, he probably dropped a couple of F-bombs. This MFer, and rightfully so. Florio, a nice little law practice, decided to talk about the NFL. That's all it takes these days. Hop on NBC. And for some reason, he's got a grudge against Lombardi. And he wrote, Lombardi's been oddly quiet since the Jordan Hudson situation in North Carolina. Like, again, I'll have fun with Michael. What the F do you expect anybody to do around Bill Belichick, who is in a freaking trance? And we know the greatest drug in the world is not heroin. In a trance with his girl, Jordan Hudson. As Mike McCarthy once said, what am I supposed to do?
It's just a wild premise for an article. It's, hey, this is going on, and this guy hasn't spoken about it. I think we could do that for every issue in the world. We just go to people and be like, there's children starving in Africa. Michael Lombardi hasn't commented on that either.
What?
That was a joke. That was it. That was all.
No, I know. It's hilarious. No, I agree with you, though. Big guy. Now, are you willing to retract your statement about protecting Florio to start? And by the way, Florio does a great job on Sirius XM, so I would never disparage. Are you willing to detract your statement about Florio and go Team Lombardi here?
Oh, that I liked him because he would come on shows and say yes, but he stopped saying yes, so I don't like him anymore. That's how it works. Once I lose my end of the situation, I no longer like people.
Give me your favorite guest from last night's 5.
Scott Spritzer.
You had Spritzer on.
Yeah, he was tremendous.
That's a good job. Peterson let you have him?
It's true. I had to fight for the guy that you've been having on for like 20 years. But
not 20. Now you're aging me. I'll play. Listen, it's a holiday. Let's have a little fun. Your least favorite of the 5 guests last night.
Let me
Careful.
think. Justin Fensterman on Fantasy Sports Radio. He was awesome. Arthur DeCesar
Maybe they were all
from the
great.
Westgate was really good. Trying to think. There were 5 of them. I've listed 3 now. Who am I missing? Jonathan Davis was tremendous on the hot.
He's tremendous.
I'd have to say Jonathan Von Tobel.
Oh, yeah, that's a good way to cop out of it. JVT jumped out with you?
Yeah. He was brutal. He killed the whole show. He was miserable. You know why? He wasn't happy because he hates New York. He hates big markets, and he had to give the Knicks a lot of credit.
I hear you, brother. The big guy. You're the best, man. You crack me up. Hey, speaking of cracking up, let's talk baseball. 2 months in, Dustin Swedelson, did you know that so close to 60% of teams come June 1st, if you're in first place, you win the division since 95? Does that move the meter for you? The one thing I do know is my Tigers are in first place, so that means they're going to win the division.
Now, well, I think they will. And did you see what we'll talk about what your boy Scooble did yesterday, but Minnesota's been hot. I don't think there's a huge gap with some of the other teams there. I do think Detroit's position, though, with a lot of upside young guys, where they should win that division. The NL East is sewn up. I don't think any of those teams are catching the Yankees. The West is still open in the American League. I still think the NL East is open. The Central has a couple winning ball clubs there. St. Louis come out of nowhere. They're 3 games back of Chicago. And then the NL West is absurd. The NL West makes no sense. All those teams are awesome. The Dodgers just lost 2 or 3 to the Mets and Queens.
Speaking of the NL West, we should talk about some of the storylines thus far. How about the Rockies, who I don't have the record in front of me, but they are a minus 171 run differential on the year.
They're 9-45. Since we last brought them up on the show, they've won a game. It was against the Yankees. They were minus 300. Or the Yankees were minus 300.
This is my favorite my favorite stat. The Rockies are on pace. The Rockies are on pace to finish 50 games back of the 4th place team in division.
So the Rockies opened, it was yesterday, 9-44. Only 4 teams in baseball history played more games before winning their 10th game. These are the years those teams played: 1895, 1904, 1886, and 1899. We got to go back a long way to find a team this bad.
Speaking of Grover Cleveland, am I right? Hey, but here's something that's, you know how you and I are always talking about a baseball, like a park should be embedded in a city.
Yes.
Have you ever been to Denver?
I have not, but the pictures look incredible.
In Coors Field, I haven't been inside, but I've been outside because all I did was walk around the city of Denver, and it's right there. It's in the city. It's hey,
I'm glad you're saying this. I'm about to text you a tweet from one of our buddies, Anillo, who listens to the show.
Here's Coors Field. Now let me go grab a beer. It's just everything's right there. And that's what baseball, Americana, shout to Memorial Day. Baseball should just be embedded in the city. So let me see what Anillo said, because maybe this
it's a great tweet from 3 days ago, because the picture's gorgeous.
Let me see, Donk. Oh, that's a beautiful picture. So he mentioned 25K fans a game. Here's what's fascinating. The Rockies have 8 or 9 wins on the year. They're one of the worst baseball teams of all time. Do you know they're 10th in attendance?
That is I'm curious who's below them.
But proves the point. People don't care if it's a good or bad baseball team. They like going to baseball games, and if the city's embedded in the actual city, you're going to go. The worst team of all time's got 10th in attendance, home attendance.
And all right, I'll prove your point right now. I'm going to San Diego this weekend. Part of the reason is I've never been to that ballpark, Petco. I want to see it in person. It was the right weekend for me and my girlfriend to plan a trip. It just so happens the Pittsburgh Pirates are in town. I am going to pay money to watch the Pittsburgh Pirates play baseball in San Diego because I want to go to that ballpark built into a city that everyone says has gorgeous views.
Petco may be the best in baseball. And people get bitter.
You loved it.
Yeah, Dodger Stadium's my favorite, but Petco is my second. Petco is, I haven't been up in San Francisco.
Yeah, that's a good one too, I hear.
But Petco is, people get bitter because, oh, it's new. I don't care if it's new. It's gorgeous. It's shockingly nice.
No,
You're
and
gonna love that.
ironically, the one that everyone says is number one is Pittsburgh. Horrible product, but the stadium's beautiful.
Right. That's true. So, okay. So I got a couple other standouts. The Tigers are the best team in baseball. You like to see that. The Dodgers obviously are the Dodgers. And I think maybe the biggest storyline thus far is the Orioles being horrific.
Well, the Oriole thing drives me nuts because, look, they fired Brandon Hyde, the manager, a couple weeks ago now. I don't understand what Brandon Hyde was supposed to do. Brandon Hyde is a new age manager. Everything he gets comes from the analytics department up top and the GM and the front office. And you know what the front office failed to do in the offseason? Get him the starting pitching necessary to compete. All they do is draft these American white infielders, and they have a surplus of them. They don't have places to play half of them, and they have no starting pitching. They have no one who can throw the ball. So I don't understand what Brandon Hyde was supposed to do, how he's the scapegoat when he doesn't have the proper pieces needed to compete.
Just as an aside, color of skin? What's going on there? That got weird.
You just look at the field, like there's a lot of white American college players. It's what they go for. It's because they're projectable. There's like less risk involved. You think you can get them to the majors quicker because they played college baseball. It's just you happen to notice it is a lot of white guys. That's all.
Okay, I got you, brother. Would you say the D-backs are a disappointment this year?
They're a little bit of a disappointment for me because they were my favorite team coming into the year. Corbin Burns has been good, not great, dealt with some injuries. Zach Gallen's taken a massive step back, and that division's brutal. I don't see a lot of easy wins in division for them. They're 6.5 back. They're a game under 500, but they do have Pittsburgh in town right now, so they could make up a few wins with that series. I thought Arizona would be a lot better. Bullpen issues continue to plague them. They have the potential to be awesome, but we'll see if they have enough arms.
I wrote down and again, disappointment 2 months in. They're 26 and 27, and this team's 25 and 27. I wrote down Orioles disappointment, Atlanta disappointment, and Arizona disappointment. Those are my three.
I bet Atlanta over the weekend plus 460 to win the NL East. I also bet them 16-1 to win the World Series. It's a long shot for a reason. But I think if you go talent-wise, that's a top 3 talent-wise roster in Major League Baseball. I'm willing to buy low. Acuna came up, homered twice in 2 days. And the fun little exercise we did a few years ago, that's the 3rd highest elevation in baseball, Truist Park in Atlanta, which means in the summer it's going to be hot. Ball's going to jump out of there. They got Strider back. Sale's there. He's a Cy Young Award winner. I don't think they're out of it in division because the Mets offense is really unreliable. And I think for Philadelphia, who's up 1.5 games on the Mets, like that's a lot of older players who've played a lot of baseball. Atlanta could go on a crazy 20-5 run, and Philadelphia and the Mets could slump at the right time. And all of a sudden the Braves are in the driver's seat in that division. But you're right. They've been a massive disappointment because they got off to that, 0-8, 0-9 start.
Those are a few notes I had. Anything just as far as storylines stand out to you 2 months in Major League Baseball?
Yeah, one, we have to go back to the Detroit Tigers because Tarek Skubal yesterday, did you see what he did?
He's insane.
Complete game. 9 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 13 strikeouts. His final pitch was 102.6 miles an hour. First complete game of his career. He's allowed a total of 75 earned runs over his last 48 starts. That's less than 2 runs a start. That's absurd. It's all-time greatness we're witnessing. He's one of the best pitchers we've ever seen. And the only question is he going to be a Tiger for life?
Dude, you just said it. You quote, one of the greats we've seen, and I agree with you. Watching him is a marvel. Chris Ilitch cannot botch this. He has to retire a Tiger. There are certain things that you just have to make sure happens, and Skubal has to be a Tiger for life. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
I'm curious if we're at a point with Skubal, and I know that Aaron Judge is going to win AL MVP, but there's always a chance with Judge he gets hurt. Skubal's like 131 for AL MVP. If he keeps this up, could he get in the conversation at least? When you think about Detroit and the roster and what his starts every 5th day mean to that team, like he's on a crazy run, and if he's off the roster, they're not a playoff team.
Well, Justin Verlander won a Cy and an MVP for the Tigers.
It's true.
Could Skubal do it? I like the way you're thinking there. He's so good. It's insane.
I love watching. The ball flies. It jumps out of his hand, and it's super heavy. Guys can't do much with it. But yesterday was absurd. Complete game and throwing basically 103 miles an hour to finish the thing off.
No, it's as
You're
a
not
lefty,
supposed to be able to do that. You're not supposed to be able to do that.
You're not supposed to. And his placement is precise. He's a big boy too. Like you said,
Yeah.
heavy ball comes at you, big lefty, just the perfect mix. He's a generational talent.
And I'd say a big story is the Dodgers. They haven't taken off. They're 33-21. They're having a great season, but they're not quite on the pace, the historic pace we envisioned. They've had, I believe, 13 different starting pitchers, and hopefully in a couple months they'll have 14 because Shohei Ohtani threw a simulated game over the weekend. He could be coming back on the hill, hit his 19th home run tonight. He starts pitching every 6th day for them. I think they'll go to a 6-man rotation. That could be what they need.
Yeah, speaking of which, we should go through Ohtani, just his stats this year. I mean, again, obviously we were talking last week about Soto, and it's not even fair to Soto. Like, Ohtani and Soto don't play the same sport. And, an era where average isn't really, valued the way it used to be. Shohei's at 300, he's 295, 18 bombs, 32 ribbies, 54 runs. He just continues to be the best player in baseball. Really not even close.
Yeah, and he's hitting around 300 again, hitting 295 coming into today. The problem is the ribbies, right? Because he's the leadoff hitter now. So he hits a lot of leadoff home runs. Guys aren't always on base for him. The RBI numbers could be absurd if he was lower in the lineup, but I actually like hitting him leadoff. Sometimes you just start the game with a 1-0 lead in the first inning because of him.
Yeah, it's intimidating for a pitcher. First player in the box is Shohei Ohtani. When we come back, we do have a halftime number, which will give you Oklahoma City and Minnesota. We'll get you updated there and also update you with the Hurricanes at the Panthers. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. We do have a halftime score. Dustin, let's get the halftime number. As far as the Thunder and Timberwolves right now, the Thunder lead by 8, 65-57 at the break.
Second half, you have Minnesota laying 1.5, and that second half total is 111.5. Let's see, what do we have in the first half? 122 points. Is that my math? Am I right there? So feel like slower pace here with Minnesota down 8. I would potentially go over in the second half total. That would be my lean there.
And we have a hurricane sighting.
Yeah, this is
the Hurricanes in the second
series.
intermission. Are they looking to extend the series? You know what? Let's see the live number on Florida. Let's come back and win this. You might even clear the goal and a half. Screw it. Carolina leads 1-0, second intermission.
Florida plus 160, minus 210 on Carolina, which feels super heavy on a team that has not shown a lot of offense. And the total is 3.5. So I will need some goals here from Florida to cover. I'm not terribly nervous because I do think Florida can score in bunches. And, of course, laying that goal and a half, we could always get a late, empty netter.
I would not be afraid to take the plus 160 with Florida. As soon as they tie it up at 1, the number's going to flip completely.
Yep.
So you'll be
back
late
to where we
party.
started.
Yep, exactly. All right, let's close tabs. What do you got for us before we get out of here on a Memorial Day?
All right. But by the way, I just want to note Memorial Day, we all love the troops. I hate to be this guy on this day. We all love but Memorial Day is about the troops that have given the ultimate sacrifice, the ones that have died defending our freedoms. That's all. It's not, we have Veterans Day. We have other holidays for the ones that are alive. This is for the ones to remember the ones that have, died in battle.
What the hell is happening?
Memorial Day. It bothers me when people get it wrong. This is like, I don't know. It just bothers me. I'll move on.
What happened? What happened? What just happened? Or what happened?
I'm just triggered by people getting the holiday wrong.
I don't even know. I just support the troops. Like, what's going on?
I know, but I'm just pointing out it's to remember the ones that died in battle. That's all. It's about Arlington National. It's about that type of stuff.
I hear you.
Wasn't correcting you.
No. I get it. Something happened on social media today. Something happened. People being wrong and just like doing this generalization about what the holiday is while they're shoving hot dogs and hamburgers down their throats. Yes, Kobayashi. All right, what else? July 4th. All right, I'm gonna ask you a trivia question. Yeah, let's go. Which U.S. president used to have this disgusting breakfast every day? 2 raw eggs mixed in grape juice. I think that's Nixon. It's not. 2 raw eggs mixed in grape juice? It's the grossest thing I've ever heard. 2 raw Calvin Coolidge? Close with the alliteration. Go ahead. Woodrow Wilson. What? Woodrow, no political take here, was an asshole. Yeah, I know. You are not a big Woodrow Wilson. So Woodrow deserves to eat eggs and grapefruit. No. Grape juice. So it's liquid and liquid mixing in the raw eggs. And you mean he would put the eggs in the grapefruit? And then mix it? No, grape juice. Grape juice. That's disgusting. And mix it all up and chug it down. I'm going to let you take us out because I don't want to botch Memorial Day. Any thoughts on the holiday? I said what I said, and I stand by it. Yeah. Shout to everybody protecting and protected. We'll see you tomorrow. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio.